Uh, that was very funny. But anyway, why would you put pacifist as a B-29? I don't understand that. Oh, I just don't understand that, man.
Should be a fun episode today.
Yes.
Icky, good news on my end.
What? Which news?
I have paperwork in the works for finally a permanent engineering position.
Ooh.
Ooh, good for you. I am unemployed.
I'm gonna celebrate. Hold on.
Which I really appreciate being unemployed. It's been 2 years since I had a break. So I was about to pass out.
Yeah,
I passed out a few times.
It's finally a permanent position, full time. Good pay, or at least better pay than what was being offered before. Health insurance, that's important.
Oh damn!
Oh, yeah.
He's moving up in this world.
Yeah.
What about the paper? Good cash, bad cash, medium cash.
The cash part is still being discussed, but no matter what, it's going to be better than what was being offered earlier in the year when I went to those interviews.
Well, I mean, your major complaint is that when people called you saying you didn't get the job, it was like, well, you are overqualified.
Yeah, this place doesn't seem to have that problem finally.
I hope they pay well.
I hope so as well.
If you are so overqualified, I hope they pay well.
Sorry, JD, but for the first 5 months, we can't pay you.
Like, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity to not be paid.
You get to work hell hours for us, but we can't pay you. Sorry.
But hey, yeah. I have my contingency plan if I don't become a good lawyer, because one of my friend's brother lives in the United States and has a construction company, so I guess I can just move and work.
Hell yeah, move to the U.S. Come to Rhode Island, hang out with me.
I think it's on Rhode Island, but I think they pay well. And I'm a smart guy. I know English. I can do just administrative work. Just deal with paperwork.
I'm a lawyer. I can help you guys out.
I'm a lawyer. I know math.
The questioning of that.
I know math.
I know physics. I know physics. I know quantum physics. That's my accomplishment. I'm not very good at math, but I'm awesome in physics. So if they have a constructions company, I guess I can do some physics, maybe. I don't know. I hope so. It's my contingency plan.
I watch Bunny Girl Senpai. I know everything about quantum physics.
Yeah. Definitely.
Obviously.
Because that will help you out. Of course it will.
Yeah. So,
because, the quantum physics apply to Laplace's demons. Laplace demon theory.
Yeah. So, who else is celebrating that it's finally December?
Is it?
I know. I am the Grinch.
God damn it!
I am the Grinch of the Discord.
I got myself a ginger beer. Gotta get in that Christmas spirit.
I guess I should start drinking my Glühwein like I do in December every year.
Well, I mean,
maybe you should.
Yeah.
There's fake snow everywhere, so I guess that's fine.
Fake snow everywhere. No, it snowed one time.
No, well, I mean, excuse me, sir.
He's from hell.
I live in fucking hell door. The hell's door known as Brazil. It's hot as fuck. I am dying here.
All right, I got a good drop for you. You can't hear it, but it's a gong basically.
Ding.
There you go.
Well, at least he's just like, well, I'm at the beginning of the stairs to hell. There's some other places there's just hell's doors.
Where would you be like? the fifth or sixth circle of hell.
I think lower than or higher than that.
Higher than fourth?
No, then lower. I guess if we're talking about hell, the lower the worst.
Oh, but what is it? There's like 7 circles of hell, isn't there? So
yeah, but one of them is.
Why just stop at 7? Make it 8.
Make it.
you know,
Boom! You got Brazil, motherfucker! No, just
you know what? Hey, no, sorry, JD. Yeah, I totally agree. You should absolutely call up Satan and be like, "You need to expand, man. Get some more circles of hell."
You've had this only 7 thing for too long.
For thousands of years. Like,
haven't you seen?
How about renewing yourself? How about renewing yourself for once? Like, keep up with the times. Be hip with the kids.
Little
you know,
reinvention will come a long way. You see, I watch wrestling, and I think you need a good backstory going here. This whole fallen from heaven thing just really isn't working out.
God drop kick you to the hell. You need to stand up again. It's been too long. Just destroy that gay earth once more so we can be fine.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I bought some juice yesterday, but it's not juice. It's more like a chemical mixture. It's and it made it very bad for me. I almost died during the night.
Did you guys know Gunslinger Girl won a Ministry of Cultural Affairs award?
Hell yeah. I know. Because, you know, lolly hentai, everyone die.
Yeah. And the manga won an award for excellence.
Yes. Because the manga is very well, except when my favorite character died. Aside that,
there we go. I'm good.
so many European guns. Of course. They are in Europe.
Everyone knows that in a couple of years, that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to use little girls to eradicate us all.
Yeah, they're going to just
going to kill us all, little girls.
Oh, they're going to get a bunch of little girls that were raped. And
you're dismissing it, JD.
Just make them into robots.
JD, you're dismissing it, but it's actually fairly likely. Maybe not necessarily little girls. Well, it's fairly likely that fucking Germany or somebody would come up with a system like that where they're just fucking like, yeah, sure, we have a cleanup crew.
A cleanup crew.
That's what they are. It's like, oh, we can't handle these guys. So let's send in the killers. Just get rid of the problem.
The little girls. They know how to deal with that shit. It's getting worse. I'm not shaving.
Let's send the siblings.
My face is on fire right now.
My face is on fire.
Alrighty, are you guys ready to start this thing?
Every time you use hot
sure.
Why not, right?
That's my shirt. just so you know. I won't do that in mid podcast. That's why I'm doing it right now.
I'm just waiting for it to fucking smack his mic at some point.
I won't. Not again. Not again.
Okay. Well then, if we're all ready, then I shall do the countdown.
You shall.
3, 2, 1, go. And we're live! It's the Red Leaf Retrocast, episode 38 of the Anime Cast. We're talking Gunslinger Girls at the back. Gunslinger Girl. That's been a problem I've had, guys. As I'm joined here with Hickey and Tori. How you guys doing?
I'm doing fine. It's just too hot because, you know, summer and hell, some other stuff. But I'm doing great.
Yeah,
you doing, Tori?
Hickey's crazy. He is. He thinks it's summer when it's clearly winter, and you know. But I'm doing okay. I'm sitting here enjoying a good ginger beer.
Ooh.
December's here, so gotta get in that Christmas spirit. Even though I won't get in Christmas spirit until probably like fucking January at some point.
Yeah, I know the feeling there.
Christmas.
I have some hazelnut coffee myself with some Baileys inside it. What I'm drinking on this podcast episode today. Yeah. And I'm your host, JD. This is the Red Leaf Retrocast, your best location to learn, remember, and relive the past to the present. How do you guys like that little tagline? Just thought of it.
Yeah.
That's okay. So that's what that means. I was wondering about that.
I told you, Tori. I told you, Tori. I told you it will be new.
You did.
You guys like it, or should we work on it?
That's fine for now.
It's fine for now. All right, I can deal with fine for now.
That's better than anything else.
We have a pretty fun episode ahead of us. We got Tori's movie quest update. He watched like a billion things, and then we got some Netflix news that's in the works.
Yes.
Apparently, we should talk about what's going on there. We got Fall 2018 seasonal impressions, where we'll be talking about 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 shows. So, hot damn on that.
Hot damn indeed.
Hot damn. And we will finish out the cast with a review over, obviously, since you've read the title, Gunslinger Girl, as in singular, even though there's more than one in the show.
But only one of them is a gunslinger. No, they're not.
An anime from 2003, really towing that line of what we consider retro for this podcast.
Yes. I guess it's the most modern so far.
At this point in recording, yeah, it will be the most modern anime we have covered.
Damn.
This was one of Hickey's picks, if you couldn't tell.
Again.
Tori, again, no.
I am good with my picks.
The fans
we'll get into that.
Agree, actually, Hickey.
we'll get into that later.
It's on in that house as well when they did not do second seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, Saikano is one of the most downloaded Spotify episodes, or episodes on Spotify. So
you have True Heart as well, and a bunch of
Two Heart's kind of fallen off, I must say.
Yes.
Doesn't really get much backlog downloads.
My new
Nicky, your long tail, it's terrible.
Yeah. Let's just move on.
Well, we are over 100 episodes overall now. Good little milestone there for the Red Leaf Retrocast. We're coming up on 2 years a month from now, so that's another milestone, happily to say. We got new logos and artwork for all the social media streaming sites, all made from my boy, my man, the best, Craig from Mason Craig. If you want more artwork done for anything like his work that you've seen here at the Red Leaf Retrocast, hit him up on Twitter, twitter.com/MaceandCraig, MaceandCraig, or you just want him to see stream some games, same name over on Twitch. So definitely recommend hitting him up if you want any work done. Nice guy. Did a billion requests that we needed from him, especially coming from 9 hosts that we got over here at RLR. So it was very nice working with him. I loved all the work he's done. Lots of good feedback on the artwork, guys, on social media. If you haven't noticed.
That's good. Nope.
Oh, well, okay. And since we're recording here, it's December 1st, as Tori was kind enough to bring up. The contest is now officially over. We ran it through the month of November, where you could enter by leaving an iTunes review, a Stitcher review, sub to us on YouTube at Red Leaf Retrocast. Yes, the URL is officially Red Leaf Retrocast now. That took forever. Or you can follow us on Podbean. Those were the 4 ways to enter. And if you do any of those 4 things, you will be marked down. I do have notifications finally set on the sites, so I can see them, including any reviews from any region in the world. It'd be not marked down for any future contests that we do. So, and that will be a thing coming up. Because 2 years is coming up as well. So there will be another contest sooner rather than later. So now that we got that all the way out of the way, how about all those social medias, guys? Tori, where can people find you?
Well, people can find me on Twitter at Tori RLR. You can also find me on YouTube over at well, you can find the link in the description if you want to search it, youtube.com/xtraprox, even though that's not my name, but that's what YouTube has decided my my URL is.
There you go. And Hickey, you have a Twitter that you
I do.
sometimes use.
Most for replies, because, people like to mark me on stuff. And anyway, you can find me at Mighty Hickey. And, also find me on Discord if you try hard enough.
Yeah, if you'd like to join our Discord, just hit us up on social media. We'll get you a link. No problem. Join us in. I think we should start conversing on there more. Discord is kind of the hip thing these days. These kids are up to.
These kids.
These
modern kids.
Yeah. And I'm
howdy, my fellow kids.
Howdy.
How those hippies flying B-29?
Well, I'm your host, JD. You can find me at BowlingJD or Redleaf Retrocast, Instagram, Twitter, all those outlets. Use the hashtag Redleaf Retrocast for anything you would like to talk about. Have us discuss on any future episodes. Maybe even have any suggestions. Just use that hashtag. Send an email to the complicated email that's in the description of every episode. Any way you can. We'd like to hear more from our audience. We're looking to grow this thing more and more. Still want my goal for each podcast to show up in the top 10 of search results for wherever site that you can find us. Be that Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean in particular. But enough of that. Let's move on. Tori has Movie Quest and a lot of updates. But what are you going to be discussing for this cast?
Well, I'm only really going to be discussing two things, as I have seen, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies since we last spoke. And
just in the past 2 weeks, you're a busy man. I
sure am. So, just to quickly mention the movies I've seen. I've seen Lupin the Third, Babylon no Ogon Densetsu, Vampire Hunter D, Castle in the Sky, Ice City, Project Eiko, Hadashi no Gen 2 or Barefoot Gen 2.
Project Eiko.
Yep, you know it. Kyoshoku Shoku Guyver, or Guyver Out of Control, and Dirty Pair, the movie.
Ooh. It is
yes.
more Dirty Pair. It's
more Dirty Pair. That is true. So, but I'm only really going to talk about 2 movies, and the first one I want to mention is Barefoot Gen 2, and if you caught it on the previous podcast, then I've also watched Barefoot Gen 1, and that was quite the experience. And Barefoot Gen 2 was just the continuation of that. It focuses on 3 years after the nuke, and it focuses on Gen and his family as they're doing what they can to survive. You see the aftermath of war. You see the Americans having invaded Japan, kind of cleaning up shit. They're taking care of the bodies, the skeletal remains, in the way only Americans do, by dumping them all in the trash.
Natural.
And, no respect.
As one does.
Yep. And, you basically just get to meet Gen again as he gets, he started going to school and stuff like that. He's trying to make ends meet with his mother, who is very sick. She has radiation poisoning, and don't have long left for this world. And he gets involved with a bunch of orphans, people who have lost their parents, and people who had lost their parents in the war. They had absolutely no rights, even in the Japanese society, because they were unwanted. They were burdens. And so they're basically a bunch of criminals, and you get to see them trying to do what they can to survive. And you see the harsh reality of people just literally dying in the street because they can't afford food, or they're freezing and stuff like that. So it's still pretty heavy, and just kind of to remind you and to get you started on that uncomfortable feeling, they start off the movie by showing you the nuke drop again, because in case you forgot. So yeah, it's I gotta say I like this movie less, but I still think it's a good movie. Like it's the logical progression. We've seen the worst part of it, and now we're kind of getting to see the aftermath where people have to struggle to kind of get back on their feet and just kind of keep going. And the message is kind of, especially for Gen, is like you're entering hard times, and this is, you know, very tough times for a kid to have to deal with, especially since he's going to be losing his mother soon, despite the fact that he's still very young. And he will then be all on his own. So this kind of just, you have to be strong and pace forward and do what you can to survive and grow up. So yeah, it's a good movie. I still enjoyed it. Just it's kind of hard to come after. Like it's a down period sort of in the movie and in the manga as well. And then it is, like I said, it's the logical progression for it to go. But it is that problem when it comes to like telling a story in which you essentially start the movie with that like huge climax, and then everything after that is kind of just going downwards. It's like you're entering the calm. So yeah, but no, I enjoyed the movie. It was.
You feel it was too slow compared to the first one then?
No, it wasn't really too slow either. Like I like what they did. I like the introduction of the orphans. I especially like the introduction of the orphan girl. That Aiko is her name. That no, it isn't. What the fuck am I talking about? That's his sister. I don't remember her name.
Yeah,
Never
mind.
mind.
Man. Get the facts straight.
Sorry, but yeah, no, he meets this girl, and she is she was caught in the blast, but she didn't die, so she has like 3rd-degree burns on her entire body. So if you've seen Katawa's shoujo, it's like that, except for you can't hide it because it's not half your face. It's half her, in her case, half her body. It's your entire body. And she obviously gets picked on a lot going outside. She hates people. She can't go to school even though she really wants to because she's an orphan. Everyone makes fun of her and hates her and talks shit about her because obviously she's a freak. She is burned. And stuff like that. And kind of seeing her meet Gen and being very angry at Gen for being that like privileged youth. And as he is kind of just helps her overcome her stop being so self-conscious, which I posted that picture in in the Discord. I'm sure you guys saw it. I've never been so happy to have somebody lick my burns before. Quite a weird thing, but that did happen. That did in fact happen. He did lick her burns to make her feel better.
Not the only show that we'll be talking about licking somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, but like again, I don't think it's problematic because it is, like I said, it's the logical progression of the movie. It's where it has to go. But it is again that problem of like there is no high quite as high as the nuke. There is no climax quite as big as that.
Fallout 76 would also agree with that statement.
Yeah, but like Fallout 76 is bad. But this isn't the video game podcast that we talked about video games on the last one. So, move on!
Won't go on that. Won't go down that path.
Not again. Not this time. Tune into one of the gaming podcasts if you want to hear more about this.
There you go. Modern Cast November will be recorded sooner rather than later as well. Talking about such games like that.
Among others, yes. And the other movie I watched was Dirty Pair, the movie. So,
not talking Babylon? Lupin?
No, I don't really feel like it.
All right,
it's more Lupin.
Quick question with that. Did you feel the Tower of Babylon's with the whole like alien thing with the tower going off into space? Is that right?
You would be correct. Yes.
Yeah. Did that when that was all revealed? Did you just go, okay, Lupin, I can deal crazy. That's a little too much. That's what I thought when I was getting to that part.
Kinda. Like, I mean, obviously, it's Lupin. With Lupin, everything is on the table. It's always been.
Sure.
There are things that I there are things that I liked about it. And, I mean, it's not exactly a huge, like, spoiler or anything. It's, I mean, the aliens kind of come out of left field, but you know there's something going on. That old woman from the very beginning, she is very weird and claims to be thousands of years old, so...
Of course.
It's, you know, something fucky is going on here. And, but yeah. Now, I think it's an okay movie, all things considered, at least for a good part of it.
Mm-hmm.
The end is a bit... Gotta have an excuse to lift off the Tower of Babylon. That's in New York, by the way. And,
yeah, that was another thing.
Have it explode. And,
yeah, I thought it was just okay, and then I didn't like the ending too much. I thought it was one of the weaker Lupin movies I've ever seen.
I haven't seen that many, so it might be. But so far, like, again, it was watchable. I didn't have any problems watching it. But it's not a movie that I have any intention of back and seeing again, ever. It's like, yeah, I've seen it now.
Yeah, of same mind. So, Dirty Pair movie.
So, Dirty Pair, if you don't know, it's basically about these Kay and Yuri, who works for this, what were they called? Jesus. They just call them WWW. What's it called? World Welfare and Works Association. Thank you. Thank you, my brain.
Thank you, my brain.
They are, yeah, and essentially it's like a government thing, and they go and they fix crime and shit like that, and usually ends with them blowing up everything. Yep. I mean, to be fair, they're the real criminals.
We have covered Dirty Pair on a past podcast episode, so definitely go check that out. It wasn't too long ago, as a matter of fact.
Yep. And this one is a kind of like, it's not a continuation, it's like a side story. And it's about this crazy scientist who was trying to unleash Project Eden, trying to create the perfect specimen.
I know
to
what movie this is now. Okay.
Yeah, trying to create the perfect specimen of human to I don't know, something evolution, beat evolution, take over
I pulled up the summary, if you don't mind me reading.
Sure. Go ahead.
Visorium is one of the is the one mineral necessary for intergalactic space travel. When a Visorium minery on Agrina is subject to a series of attacks by monsters, the World Welfare Works Association assigned Dirty Pair to the case. Add in a pro-thief that escaped them during their previous mission, and you have even more trouble for Kay and Yuri. Can the dynamic duo get to the bottom of the problem and stop the plans of the mad Dr. Wattsman and his mysterious Project Eden before it's too late? Go.
Yeah. So, essentially, it just follows Kay and Yuri as one, they stop illegal Visorium, an illegal Visorium trade from happening in the only way they know how to do, by blowing up a vacation resort in space. Because, obviously, why would you ever not harm the civilians that are just vacationing there?
Of course.
And, yeah, they blew up that entire thing. But that is nothing compared to the end. They obviously find... There's this conflict between these two countries who have their own ideas of how this Visorium mining should go. One country is like they only want to mine it and then sell it unrefined, whereas the other one wants to experiment with refining it and selling that worldwide and stuff like that. So and they're obviously in conflict.
Good mineralogy here.
Yep, they're in conflict with each other, arguing about who's right, why the other one should give up, whatever. So Kay and Yuri goes to look into this, and it turns out that somebody has been destroying the Visorium refineries, or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
They've been destroyed. Somebody's attacking them, and obviously they blame the other guys. So they go to investigate, and then they get attacked by some weird monster. Later on, they meet one of the guys who escaped from the trade gone wrong, and apparently he is looking for this doctor, this scientist, who turns out that he is the one who's responsible for creating all of these things. So they go to this doctor's place. I know, right? They go to this doctor's place, and he's obviously crazy science guy who is very smart. You can tell it in his glasses. His glasses literally have equations appearing in them. Neon light equations appearing in them, because that's how smart he is. He's creating a new evolution of human to destroy the world and take over for humankind as the ultimate species. And they try to stop him. And they do. So, yay! But not before. Also, the guy who, by the way, the thief dude, he has the best name ever. Carson D. Carson is his name. Fantastic name.
Carson.
Yep. I mean,
Name's so nice, you gotta say it twice, ladies.
Carson D. Carson, Professor Wattsman. Oh, by the way, one thing I gotta say immediately with this movie, I love the music. The music is so 80s cheese, and I love it. It fits the movie perfectly. Like, when you get to meet Dr. Wattsman the first time, the song that kicks up, Dr. Wattsman!
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Watch this movie right now. Stop the recording. We'll come back in an hour and something.
An hour and 30 minutes. Yeah, no, it's the music is it's fantastic. It's cheesy, it's 80s. And I love that. But ultimately they stop him. The guy, Carson D. Carson, he is actually just going after him for his own personal vendetta, which turns out that he's trying to steal back a wine, a World War II wine that they stole from him, because he also needs reasons. So, yeah. And he does, but then he gets stabbed. But despite being mortally wounded, they still manage to fight back and defeat Dr. Wattsman and his assistant Bruno. And as everything's been resolved, and they defeated a new specimen of human, and they are just traveling home. He decides to throw up.
How's the actual animation? Okay.
Hold on. He decides to throw away his bottle, which hits the lightsaber. There's lightsabers in this one. It's the lightsaber that goes further into the fucking control panel that is stuck in. That blows the entire thing up, and the entire planet blows up at the end. So they literally destroyed an entire planet. Yes, what did you say?
Again.
Just
pointed out the again.
Yeah. The again part. It's very important. So how's the action and animation compared to, say, the TV series or a couple of the OVAs? That's what I'm curious about, because this is one of the few Dirty Pairs I haven't seen, and I've been meaning to do it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's a movie. It's a bit of a step up visually from the TV series. Mm-hmm. When it comes to action, there isn't really that much, like, in terms of fighting. It's just kind of weird. Yeah. They don't really do that much. There's a couple, they shoot at each other a little bit, and then they get attacked by the monsters, and there's some dodging there. But, like, it's mostly, that's kind of like standard comedic animation, where it's like, instead of, like, perfectly animating them dodging out, it's kind of like, one frame skip out of the way. That type of stuff, because it's more meant for. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be comedic, so there's a reason behind it, but it is more of that. So it's like, it's by no means the best animated movie I've seen, and it's by no means a fantastically animated action movie, but like it's definitely better animated than the TV series by quite a bit, actually. So
that's good to hear.
It looks good. Yeah, the plot is a bit. I liked it for a while. It was very good, but the ending kind of ruined it a little bit for me. It's it got a bit dumb, even for Dirty Pair.
Ooh,
Yeah.
So that explains probably the lower average score then. Okay.
Yeah, and then also you have that, if you know Kay and Yuri, you know that they tend to fall in love a lot.
Sure.
They like that, and Kay also falls in love with Carson D. Carson, because of course she does. His name is Carson D. Carson. How can you not fall in love with that? But I mean, it's kind of like,
I'm in love already.
I know. But like, that's kind of exactly how it felt with her as well. It's kind of like, I mean, there's obviously not usually a reason or much of a reason. It's kind of just, oh, he's a hottie. But it's kind of just like, why did she fall in love with him? Well, they were arguing, and he hit Kay, and she was like, damn, that's just a real man.
Well, obviously, the most important question is, does he have chest hair?
No, he does not.
Well, there's your reason right there. Who wouldn't fall in love with a guy like that? Name's Carson D. Carson, no chest hair. I'm like, oh,
no chest hair. He's ripped.
Labs woman. That's what I'm talking about.
My heart skips a beat just talking about it.
I know. It's incredible.
Man.
It's incredible. Nah, but it's like, it's kind of, I would have almost preferred it if she would have just seen him and be like, "Oh, he's hot," but she never does that. Kind of just like, "I hate this man," and then he hits her in the face, and she's just like, "No man ever gets away with this." And you're like, "Are you in love with him?" And she's like, "No."
Wow, that's kind of submissive. That's not.
She doesn't. She doesn't do that. She gets
much at all.
She doesn't do that. She gets mad at it. It matters. There's no way I would ever fall. It's like, so it's her, but it's like fucking. It's kind of like, I don't know. Again,
well,
I would have preferred it if it's just stereotypical, like, he's a hottie, but it's like, nah. They went some sort of reason, but there is no reason.
No, they went with the hate that becomes love trope.
Yeah. I hate him, therefore I love him. Therefore we will make the perfect baby together one day.
Well, if you hate someone, you're always thinking of that person, and you kind of interested of that person, and if you think hard enough, you develop Stockholm syndrome and start loving the person again.
That's a fact.
Oh, we'll get to that point as well later.
Yes. So yeah, nah. Again, I thought the movie was okay. It could have done with a different ending. It got a bit, like I said, dumb at the end, but for like the first half, it was enjoyable. A lot of fun. Typical dirty pair.
Cool. Good to hear. Okay. So, we have some news coming from Netflix, which is creating quite a stir in the anime community. Well, first and foremost, there's a live-action Cowboy Bebop in the works, since Netflix got the licenses to Cowboy Bebop and Neon Genesis Evangelion. One of our longest podcast episodes was the Eva episode. Still one of the most downloaded, by the way, so seem to like it. What do you guys think of the live-action Cowboy Bebop?
Don't care.
Like I said, the only thing that comes to my mind is the week live. And I don't really want to think about it. Just let it go. If it's good, if it's bad, for me, it never happened.
Yeah, whenever live-action things come out like this, I never think they're too awful, to be honest. Like, I saw the Full Metal Alchemist live-action. I thought that was pretty neat.
The problem is not the live-action. The problem is Netflix, seriously, and like their policies on casting and things like that. They used the old. We got the original author as consulant, and that means he signed a paper and left to Japan again. So like The Witcher, you have Ciri, which is a Witcher. She's white and has white hair and is European, you know.
Right.
And they wanted to cast any woman except a white European woman to be a white European woman. So like they did that in The Witcher, they did that in a few other live actions, and I don't know. I don't know what they will do with that, especially with the director. The director for the Netflix live action adaptation, he has some mixed signals. Sometimes he defends that kind of things, and other times he condemns that kind of. Sometimes he thinks we need to put everyone you need to represent everyone, and the other times he thinks you need to stay true to the original stories. So like I don't know. I don't know what will be coming out from Netflix. It's a wild card. That's why I don't really care about it. I hope it's good.
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of coming out of the woodworks.
Because, like, I hope it's not Death Note.
Oh, please, no.
They did that with Death Note as well. So, like, I don't know. And they got a bunch of other licenses, worldwide licenses, because I think they already had the Japanese license for those animes. So they just got the worldwide, and they will definitely be making more live action.
I hope it's good. Obviously, hey,
I do. I always hope it's good.
Yeah,
it's not because I don't like it. It doesn't mean I don't hope it's good.
Yeah,
I hope it's good. I know there's a lot of people that really like live action.
Just like with most things, if the adaptation isn't as good, I don't think there's any reason to get too bent out of shape about it. Like, if Cowboy Bebop live action turns out to be a total flop, still have the anime. And so there you go. Doesn't ruin the anime just because this live action comes out.
I mean, it kind of does for some. It's just kind of a problem. It's like if somebody's first, introduction to Cowboy Bebop is through the live action, and then it turns out that it is complete fucking garbage. Like, you tell them, be like, yeah, but you should totally check out the anime. And they'd be like, why the fuck would I do that?
It's not really that big a loss.
There's one thing I expect from the live action, and it's the camera angles fighting. Like, the camera angles in the fights, I hope they can emulate that.
Oh,
because that is the best part of Cowboy Bebop. So I really do hope they can emulate that. Camera
there is some kung fu
angles
choreography going in that shit as well.
Yeah, get some real good
weird.
spike martial arts.
Oh yeah,
implemented for sure.
I mean, that's a huge part of fucking the action scenes that makes Cowboy Bebop.
What scene in particular are you looking forward to the most converted to live action? Because personally, when the first thing that just popped into my mind is that very first episode where it's against the it's like the Red Mist drug dealer, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And they have that pretty sweet fight scene that introduces Spike, and he does like the judo throw through the guy on the table and cool things like that. They're chasing each other down. I think that'd be a good kind of intro sequence to the live action.
I'd even go so far as to say it's like fucking if they can't nail that, that's a huge sign for the rest of the series.
Is it going to be a series or a movie?
I am not entirely sure.
Okay.
I think it's 10 episodes. If I'm honest, but I think it's 10 episodes.
Okay. If it's a series, then shit. Make it like Firefly. Remember that series?
Nope.
So
No,
Firefly was a it's a cult classic sci-fi TV series that takes place of people kind of transporting goods throughout space, so very much in that same realm. I think that's why I like Firefly so much. And it has a pretty kooky main character in Nathan Fillion. That's his character, and they just go about space. There's an overlying plot to it all. It's really Cowboy Bebop-esque. So hey, if you want a live-action Cowboy Bebop, that's pretty damn close, if you ask me. And I think if they have a production similar along those lines, that would be a success in Cowboy Bebop. But the downside is Firefly wasn't very successful. That's why it was done after one season.
I can tell you by the names that were revealed, they got some big cash. So I don't think they want you to screw up.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something. Like, the only positive thing that I kind of get out of this, like, the new, like, making anime live action craze is kind of like, at least they're seemingly trying to put more and more effort into actually attempting to make it good, rather than just be like, oh, let's make something called Dragon Ball because that will get all Dragon Ball fans to watch.
I feel you on that.
Will we also be doing a new Blade Runner?
Yeah.
Fun things. I like Blade Runner. Just to throw it as Netflix news part of the podcast. New anime, more Blade Runner.
New anime, new Blade Runner.
So in more upsetting controversial news to the anime community is Netflix got Evangelion and they're redubbing it.
Oh no, the horror! How could they?
English dub, correct, Tori?
English dub, obviously, yes.
So why is this an issue at all?
Well, because according to people, the English dub for Neon Genesis Evangelion was a huge influence in making the popularity of anime in the West in general. So as such, it's, I don't know, something corrupting history, whatever, to change the dub of it. Meanwhile, everybody seems to be ignoring the fact that ADV has the license to that dub, which they obviously IDV doesn't exist anymore. They went under. But rather than selling their assets to somebody else, they did the smart thing and sold their assets to themselves. So they still own it, for whatever reason. And they are, after the lawsuit against Gainax over the rights to NGE, ADV got kind of fucked in that, so they're angry at Gainax in particular. And they are now also not very happy with Netflix, and they have no intention of selling the rights to use the original dub. And Netflix has decided that, well, we're going to make our own. And people are mad, and even the voice actors of the original dub are not happy about it and wants Netflix to use theirs, which I can understand their point of it.
Netflix could just hire the dub actors.
They could. But they don't intend to do that. They want to get bigger profile people in on this. But, like, the only thing I can see, I understand the voice actors upset. The voice actors are upset about this because obviously we're talking about their career here.
Right. Well,
like, yeah, and obviously they would really like that promotion.
They win some. On every sale of Blu-ray or DVD. So if Netflix comes with a new dub and puts out DVDs and Blu-rays in the market with better quality, of course, new and rescaled and maybe even a 4K Blu-ray, people will buy that. And the original ADV and the original voice actors and actresses won't win any.
Yeah. So I understand their point of it, but I don't think it's reasonable, and I don't understand why everybody else is getting fired up over it. It's business. This is how it works. They're not going to be able to get a hold of the original dub, and even if they could, there is no reason why Netflix should use the original dub.
Yeah, it's not even the greatest, and I watch dubs too. And even I would say, yeah, you should probably watch the Japanese version.
I would watch the Japanese version no matter what, so that doesn't really mean anything.
I'm not the biggest Ava fan, but definitely go back and check out our long ass episode on it. I think that was the 4.5 hour one, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like
that. So yeah, I mean, it's Evangelion. It's got a huge following, one of the most influential anime of all time. People care about it. I'm with you, Tori. Especially if the company that has the license isn't willing to play ball at all, then Netflix's hand's been forced, and they have every right to just say, okay, I guess we'll just have to make our own dub then. Big deal.
But I mean, even if
all this money and all this influence and all those voice actors trying to work for me, so fuck you.
Even if this wasn't the case, even if ADV was like, nah, sure, they can use. Again, there is like zero reason why Netflix should do this. They have no reason to use the original dub. And like some people say, it's actually cheaper for them to get new fucking actors and actresses in to do the voices than it would be for them to get the dub anyways.
Oh, that's interesting, and I believe that.
Actually, it would be because the dub came out in 98, 99.
Something like that.
I'm not American, so they would have to treat the audio, separate the audio files, and treat them. Because the equipment they used were different, the quality way under the belt for the quality we have nowadays. So they would have to waste a lot of money just to treat the audio to be suitable to fit the quality would probably want in something like Evangelion if they would. I guess it's cheaper to hire new voices and do all.
Yeah. And redubbing an anime isn't anything new. I mean, I'm pretty sure every Ghibli movie has been redubbed at least once. Akira, I'm pretty sure, is like 4 times now. Has different dub versions. I mean, the list just goes on there. This is nothing new, and Hickey, your audio comment is very accurate on that sense.
Yeah. Now again, don't get me wrong. I can totally understand somebody going out and saying that Ava dub was my childhood and I want it, but like you can still have it.
So's the Gotchamon English dub, but we're not saying we should keep that shit.
Exactly. I understand that there are people out there that don't want a redub. That's fine, but again, that doesn't really have anything to do with Netflix. Netflix would obviously redub this. There is like the benefit of them keeping the original dub. There isn't enough benefit in that.
Right. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Even before the pre-show, when we were talking about it, if the original dub was your childhood, it wasn't mine, it wasn't Tony's as well. If you were in the United States and maybe England or English-speaking countries and had that dub, you can buy the Blu-ray and the DVD, and it will probably be cheaper if Netflix just floods the market with the newer one. It will be the old DVDs and Blu-rays will get cheaper, and like I would say 6 months after those releases, they would get very expensive again. So you can just buy a bunch of those Blu-rays and stock them and then sell them with a higher price.
Yeah. Brazilian teaching you people about capitalism. God damn it.
You see a similar things in like the video game market. Whenever a game comes out digitally or it's remastered or something, then the original plummets in price. The first game that comes to my mind is Final Fantasy VII. For the longest time, that the discs were 150 plus. And then as soon as it came on PSN for like $6, now all of a sudden the discs were $10-15, and then cut to 2 years after that, now the discs are back up to $50. So
yeah, that's basically what will happen with the original DVDs and Blu-rays with the original dub. It will have the same fluctuation.
Yeah. Well,
so
I'm glad you brought up the
will not be ruined.
I'm glad you brought up the pre-show, Hickey, because, audience, if you would like to join us for the pre-show while we stream these podcasts live on YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, and Periscope, come check us out at BowlingJD, Red Leaf Retrocast for the YouTube one. Definitely join us in the conversations for the pre-show. We got some conversations going there, seemingly every time.
Their show is not the most PG thing, but the pre and the post show. They are the pre and the post show for a reason. Let's just say that.
I mean, we're never going to be PG. Like I told JD, the day we become PG is the day I quit. Not because I have to swear, but simply because if somebody goes to me and says, you can't swear, then I'm done.
You fucking communist. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I'm a fucking communist, you're right. You're goddamn right, Hickey.
You goddamn right.
Oh, God. Well, I think we're at the point in this cast where we can move on to our fall seasonal impressions of 2018. You guys ready for this?
Ooh. Sure.
Let's see. What drop haven't I played in a while? Got it. Just for you, Tori.
Cat.
Yeah.
I'm a kitty cat. And I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance. Cat. I'm a kitty cat. And I meow, 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 and I meow, meow, meow.
There you go. I played that kitty cat one. Since you reminded me.
God damn it.
JD being an old man. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Aw, come on. Ah.
God is in heaven, I was right with it.
Alright, so we have 9 anime to go through. We each pick 2, and then we have 3 quick thought anime impressions. And Tori, your first one was... The one you brought up was Magical Index Season 3.
A certain Magical Index Season 3 is correct. So, it's been, what, 7, 8 years since Season 2?
Yeah. It's
My God!
A long time. It's been a long time.
Oh yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere when it got announced. And apparently, why did this become a thing? Well, because they decided that this is what the fans wanted, and they wanted a to see Index in completely, well, not just Index, the entire Raildex universe be completely adapted. So that's what they're working on. That's why there's a new Index this season. There will be a new Railgun in 2019, I think spring, maybe summer.
Sure.
And there will also be an adaptation of the other spin-off, the Tuarano Accelerator, the Accelerator manga, light novel. Sorry. So they're really working their way through the Raildex universe. So, I mean, I'm happy. I like Index. I like this franchise. It's fun. It's not the best series I've ever seen. Quite far from it, actually. It can be kind of dumb at times, but
I'm with you on that one.
Just in terms of action, Index not necessarily being the best indication of that, but in terms of just action and fun, it's a lot of fun to watch. I enjoyed myself watching Index quite a lot, seeing even the lengthy explanation of their powers is kind of just, it's funny and typical Index, kind of typical. I think the biggest thing people are going to struggle with, especially if you haven't seen Index before, going into this is a relic in terms of light novels. You're going to see stuff that nobody does anymore because it has been overplayed so much.
Yeah, like I think we discussed a little bit of light novels here and there, but like I think I said in the last podcast, light novels are the essence of Japanese capitalism. If it's working, we don't need to change. We just spam a bunch of the same thing in the market until it gets sold. We just go to another wacky thing and just keep it spamming and spamming. Now it's isekai with overpowered characters, and it's been like that for like a year and a half, and people will move on, and you have yet another wacky thing to destroy the market and the light novels. And Index was one of those in 2005.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, I've seen the first one myself, and
what I mean is like light novels doesn't age well because they are highly dated.
Yep.
And Index. Anyway, you can keep on now.
yeah. So I'm with you, Tori. This one, just no interest in seeing another Index. I always thought the show lacked a lot of direction, just way too tropey in a lot of sense. I didn't even think the action was all that great. Didn't like the main character. Thought pretty boring. Meanwhile, there's a better what would you call it? This is the side story to Certain Scientific Railgun, which is probably the more popular series, I would say.
Index is technically the main.
Okay. Well, then Railgun's the more interesting one.
Yeah, but I mean that's one of the things that I think is very interesting, the Raildex universe, because again, I mean you can tell I'm calling it the Raildex universe because that's what it is. When I say Index is the main and Railgun is the side story, it doesn't really mean something in the same way that it does with a lot of other things. When you hear side story, which is it's something that isn't relevant to the story. No, all the side stories in the Raildex universe are relevant to the story because they all take place in the same universe. They take place in the same story. Hell, a lot of it is kind of just the same things you've already seen, but because when something happens, right, when you follow Index, you follow Toma around for the most part and see what he gets up to. But at the same time as he is doing something over here, Mikasa is over somewhere else in Railgun doing something else. These are things that are happening at the same time. So it's interesting. I've only really seen Index so far. I haven't gotten around to watching Index Railgun yet, and I kind of regret that, especially in season 3, because there's a bunch of characters that pop up that if you haven't seen Railgun before, you're gonna be like, ooh. And they have been in Index, usually in the background, and not really been portrayed that well. So you kind of know them, and I know a little bit about Railguns. I know them on a surface level, but it is definitely one that's like, wait, were they in Index? No, they weren't. I'm pretty sure they weren't. Were they? So there's a bit of that going.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was some quick thoughts there. We got some people showing up in Twitch. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
as we move on. This is just quick thoughts on these first few shows. So quick thoughts for Tsurune, which is the archery anime. It's a pretty boys. It started off pretty well, guys, where the main character had this like his mom died, and that caused him to get target panic, which is a real thing in sports. Think of the yips in golf and bowling. So the show gives you a good impression the first couple episodes that it's going to be this main character overcoming this, right? Well, after those couple episodes, you come to find out it's mostly just going to be the pretty boy sports anime kind of 101 deal, which I was pretty disappointed in. It's still mildly interesting right now, but it's really just focused on kind of that group togetherness. I haven't seen Free, but I've seen the comparisons of it. So there was the most recent one I saw, there was just an entire episode dedicated to the group togetherness factor, and they went shopping. And that was the whole episode, and I was just super bored with it. I'm like, come on, let's get back to why we're all here. It just doesn't seem to be that route the series is taking. So that's my quick thoughts on it. Are you guys watching Tsurune?
No, I'm not, but you're incredibly wrong, JD, because this, if I'm not mistaken, this is by KyoAni, isn't it?
It is KyoAni, so it looks good.
Exactly, so people are not there for the archery. They are obviously there for the slice of candy. Let's go shopping.
Well, I think most of people are there because of Free.
Yeah.
It's my impression. Because, whenever Kyoto Animations meets cute boys, some weird chemical thing happens, and Free happens as well. So I skipped it, mostly because Tori said I should watch. So I skipped this. I usually don't skip KyoAni shows. This one, it doesn't. I don't know. I didn't feel like watching it, and I think it's either an early start or a late start.
It had a late start.
It had a late start. So I was like, well, I'm already on episode 3 on a bunch of things, and I dropped the show. So I could have picked it, so no, I just didn't feel like watching it.
Well, fair enough. All right. Well, this next show is Return to Spice, and this is one that you're watching, Hickey, and it's exclusive on High Dive.
Yes.
A service that you and I like using, and this podcast likes using, because it has a lot of retro anime on there.
Yeah, and usually when they do seasonal, they get a few exclusives. Usually they get 2 or 3. Most of them are high quality picks. Shows that are very good and people just don't watch because it's High Dive exclusive, but they're losing it. They're losing how good they are. And Release the Spice, in my opinion, is one of those. JD got a very bad impression, and I understand it.
Oh, well, I'll hold my tongue for the moment.
because
go to Twitter.
Because he had a bad impression of Release the Spice. He didn't actually watch my pick to reveal in this podcast, which is Bunny Girl. But it's fine. It was just to say, Release the Spice out there. A lot of people are talking about Animael, which is a purebred moe anime, but it's not a very good one. Just full of excuses. Yeah, it's just a show full of excuses to show girls being cute. It's not even doing anything.
No way.
They should be doing they should be doing cheerleading, but they don't do that. There's just some flash sometimes. Which is very sad. Now it's kind of failing on animation. They're using a lot of chibis and stuff.
Wow, sounds like a moe anime.
They didn't accommodate the money quite well for the late parts of the show. And Release the Spice, the girls are doing stuff. They fighting. You have gunfights and some old ass ninjas kicking the ass of moe girls. But it's very good. I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy the story. So I think it's the best moe show in the season, and people should check it out. Especially if it's on the High Dive, and not only if you are in the US, they have a huge catalog. You can use VPN if you are like me in other country and watch it. for like $2 a month. The subscription is very, very cheap.
It's a very affordable subscription, and High Dive, if you're listening, fucking sponsor us, bro.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna come to you now with that.
Hey, well, I got the English dub translator liking tweets on Twitter saying I was fooled by Hickey. I was tricked. I fell for it. Hickey, you tricked me. You son of a bitch.
You did that to yourself. Like, when you ask us, what do you guys want to review? We'll watch everything. And it's like, okay, I'm going to review that and review that. And it's like, okay, any other show you guys just want to talk about? Like, yeah, that's one. Which one you watch first, you dumbass? You watch the fucking one that is being reviewed, not the honorable mention. You did this to yourself, and you should be you should feel bad.
Hey, I didn't watch this first. I watched this last.
Well, you should have watched Bunny Girl Senpai.
He's right.
It's actually a good show.
we'll get to Bunny Girl Senpai.
Sure will.
Yeah, Spice, I did not like this show. I was immediately turned off, especially when main girl character, she even has the line where she goes, when I lick someone, I can taste their physical attributes, and then they're in a car, and they hit like a little bump in the road as they're in a car chase, and she accidentally kisses the other girl, and she knows her mental state as well now, so she has superpowers.
Well, not really. It's biology. Depending on how you're feeling and what you're feeling, your body releases some kind of chemicals. So basically, her senses are so good that she can sense, she can taste the chemicals and understand what the person is feeling.
But would she lick another person's burns? Would she lick another person's burns? I don't think so.
But I think when you lick someone's burns, you pretty much know what they are feeling. It's just my opinion. Of course, I've never licked a burn. Well, I licked my own burns, so I know what I was feeling when I got burned.
I mean, yeah, yes.
Okay. Well, let's move on. Tori, what is your first anime you would like to do impressions on?
My first anime that I would like to do impressions on is Zombieland Saga.
Zombie Saga.
And I remember talking about this show before it came out. And I was like, this sounds interesting. Zombieland Saga Mappa. And I was fucking hyped for this show, and I didn't really hear anybody say anything about it. Some people did, but a lot of people didn't, simply because they didn't really give us any information. So, and then it comes out, and I'm not even sorry about spoiling episode 1 anymore, since now it's been a while. And if you've ever seen Excel Saga, then you've experienced this type of thing before. But there is something very funny about seeing a girl who is getting ready to go to an audition. She is just getting ready in the morning. She is so hyped for a good day, and everything should be fun. And she walks out the door, and bam! She gets hit by a truck. Literally within the first minute, she's dead. So, she wakes up and has turned into a zombie. And this crazy Hoen Kyoma guy. His name is not Hoen Kyoma, but voiced by the same guy.
What is it? What is the name of the voice actor? No,
it's
something like that.
It's Miyano. It's Mamoru Miyano.
Mamoru, yeah. They basically got Mamoru Miyano, the guy who made Hoen Kyoma, gave him a bucket of cocaine and said, "Go wild." And he's just killing it everywhere.
Oh yeah, you know
fucking way.
If you've seen Steins Gate, you know the I am mad scientist. Is so cool, son of a bitch. It's basically him doing that every episode, except
he definitely started it with the rapping episode, which I think it was episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
No, the episode after the rapping episode where he went to Sakura and goodbye. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy saying?
He is hilarious, and he nails it in that role. He is the best producer. I don't even care.
I bowled on to him. He's a way better producer.
So yeah, and just to kind of clarify this, because if you don't know, you're probably confused now. You might be like, wait, didn't you say it was Zombieland Saga? Yes, because these girls. And it's not just Sakura, it's a bunch of other girls as well. They are all dead, and have been turned into zombies by this guy, by Kotaro Tatsumi, who is making them into zombie idols to revitalize the prefecture of Saga. They're gonna save it, and that is essentially what this is about. And you get a bunch of stuff. Episode 1 was a fucking metal concert, and episode 2 they had a rap battle on stage, and since then they've kind of gone back to more standard idol stuff. Yeah. Since then, they've gone back to more standard idol stuff, but it's kind of switched up. For like the first half, it went a lot for comedy, and it was hilarious. And now in the second half, they're going more emotional, and god damn it, they're nailing that too, and I hate it. Don't do this to me, Zombieland Saga. God damn it.
Dude. The last episode, holy shit.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I haven't. Well, I think it's fine to spoil episode 1 because Crunchyroll, the American Crunchyroll, made us a favor to spoil Sakura's death 10 minutes live on the.
Yeah, they do that. They do that, sadly. I don't know why. Honestly, it's one of those things like, if you haven't seen it yet, like, fucking get on it. It's good. It's a good show. The worst part about it is easily the CG. Because there's some CG dancing, although they stopped that last episode. The last episode I watched, so episode 8, episode 7? 8.
Okay.
7.
And, but yeah, before that, there's a bit of CG dancing. It doesn't look the best, but other than that, like, it's funny. Very funny for a while. And then it goes more emotional and starts to focus more on the backstory of these zombies and who they were when they were alive and why they're here and the legendary Yamada Tai has not yet been receiving any backstory.
Yeah, well, this anime, being a MAPPA anime, you knew something weird was although they weren't down, I guess they are up again with Zombieland Saga, they're just killing it. I knew about this show. I don't know, I was just skeptical because there were no synopsis at all. You had a cover art for the show, and that was it. And they made a pre-screening, and people had to sign a NDA, and so they couldn't talk about the show until it was released. But everyone said it was a 10 out of 10.
It had a 97% approval rate on episode 1.
Yeah.
So you knew something was happening.
Yeah, but no one could tell anything about episode 1. Okay, I need to be optimistic about the show. And it was you, Tori, who said that. Well, I guess it doesn't have a synopsis, but well, I have to wait and see now because now I'm interested in the show. More interesting. I was interested already because it's a MAPPA show. And yeah, it's very good. Who would have thought about it? The biggest problem it has, it's one of its quality as well, which is the wacky character and the wacky nature of the story. Although it's the best part of it is also what is bad about it, because you have unspoken excuses to some events and why people don't remember those who died, those girls who died, because most of them were famous. But like an unspoken rule applied to half of the characters. The other unspoken rule kind of applied to 2 characters, and there's one character that doesn't make any sense at all, which people are now fighting over Twitter because dumb stuff. But you give it a hard pass because it is funny as fuck. And just holding on killing it, even if it doesn't make sense. Especially when some of the deaths of those characters are so metal, every heavy metal singer would like to die that way. And I don't think people would forget it, but they do, apparently. You still give it a pass. It's too funny.
Yeah.
Just the amount of Ohio gozaimasu.
Ohio gozaimasu! I love it, though. Especially because usually whenever they have a meeting in episode, not always, but they've had it most of the time, and then the producer, he comes out and he says anything, whether it be Ohio gozaimasu or just makes some sort of random noise, And I love it because every time the people there, they're not entirely sure if they should respond or not. Because
he always asks,
he doesn't, they don't know.
And it doesn't matter what she says. He gives an optimistic smile, and she gains some hope, and he just, fuck a zombie! I'm like, oh yes, it's just too good.
Like when we're introduced to the characters, they're all legendary something or other. And then we get to the legendary Yamada Tai, and yes, that's exactly how she's described. The legendary Yamada Tai. And Sakura is dumb enough to ask, what is so what's her name? Legendary Yamada Tai. What makes her so legendary? And fucking Kotaro, he just goes to her and screams at her, like, what makes you so special, huh?
That guy doesn't chew. It's so good. The bucket of cocaine was so worth.
Oh, yeah. Now, Mamoru Miyano, he is a fantastic voice actor. Even though his range is kind of limited, but god damn it,
Dude,
he knows how to deliver some energy.
I cannot wait for the last episode when they hit big, and he just makes the Yagami Raito laugh. That would be amazing. That would be a 10 out of 10. I don't give a
But yes, we can move on now. That's enough gushing about Zombieland Saga.
Alrighty, well, I'm glad you guys like it.
Yeah, because JD is boring and he doesn't want to watch it.
Dude, idol shows just will never do anything for me. The closest I've ever gotten to enjoying an idol show would be the Macross series. And I still haven't seen Macross Delta.
This is not like any other idol show, JD. God damn it.
It's still an idol show.
Very name only.
Yeah.
So, Tori, your second one is...
Oh, we're doing more me?
Yeah,
we're not doing... Alright then, sure, I can talk. So, alright, let's just see here. The second one that I've got is SSS Gridman. Sorry, there's 4 S's. Because,
I'm sorry, I missed an S.
No, you didn't. I just said SSS.
Oh.
No, you got 5. You got 4. So yeah, it's... Gridman is like a, kaiju, the, Jesus. I am fucking... What is happening? I am having a mind break here. I'm having a mind break. Tokusatsu. That's the thing I'm looking for. And it's based on a 90s show. Or, yes, it is actually based on a 90s Tokusatsu. Yes. Live action Tokusatsu.
1997 to 1999.
Yeah. Technically, if you want to be technical, it's based on something that came out in the 60s, but that's now we're being very specific. So essentially, it follows a guy named Yuta Hibi, and he loses his memory, and he wakes up at this girl's house, and she is like taking care of him or whatever, and then the computer starts talking to him. You know, that's such a thing happens. It tells him. Yep, it tells him to remember his calling or his mission or whatever. And he is very confused, and he asks the girl, like, what is going on? And she's like, what are you talking about? The computer is talking to me. He's just, are you crazy? I'm like, maybe I am. I'm not entirely sure. I think I'm hallucinating. But whatever. Stuff happens. He walks outside, and he sees a bunch of kaiju, giant monsters, in the sky. And he freaks out, and he's like, do you see these? And the girl is like, what are you talking about?
Let's go to the hospital.
Yep. And he's fine. Everything's fine. So he goes home. And then the kaiju start attacking, and he remembers he does not remember his calling, but he ends up infused into the computer and turns into Gridman, and his job is to fight these kaiju. And he does. And they destroy stuff, and they kill people, and then those people disappear, and nobody remembers them. But now, the girl, Rika, and Utsumi Sho, another friend that he meets at school, they believe him now, so they're friends, and they all help out to fight these. Well, I say help out. What they can do is very limited, but they're friends. They try to do what they can, like fixing the computer, like turning it off and turning it on again. Rika's a genius. And the most important thing, the plot in this one is very, very thick. I mean the thighs.
Why is it thick, Corey?
Well, you see, there is one very important thing about this, and that is the fact that Rika's thighs are ginormous. They are very, very nice, and even when you're not in the beach episode, and yes, there's a beach episode.
Of course, there is.
Thank me later. It's a great beach episode. You love it, and you can still see her thighs all the time because they're wearing short skirts. And then you have Akane also, and she isn't bad looking either. So the girls in this one are fucking okay. They're not 10 out of 10. They're like 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Well, they're good. God damn it, I love them. I love them. They're pretty all right. But that was not actually what I wanted to talk about.
It is Studio Trigger. They know how to make a waifu character.
It is Studio Trigger. Yeah. But what I really wanted to talk about is the kaiju. Because there's one thing that I really, really, really appreciate about this show. And that is when the kaiju appear and how they look and how they're animated. Because Trigger took some special care in making this. And they made sure that every costume, or sorry, I call it a costume, every character, every kaiju is designed as if they're made in a typical tokusatsu way. Like it's a person in a costume. To the point where there are literally kaiju you see that you can actually see the string.
It's very weird.
I think it's a very nice touch because they're really giving callbacks to tokusatsu. This is obviously a fucking tokusatsu, so they want to make sure that it resembles tokusatsu in as many ways as possible. And I think that's a very cool thing to do because obviously this is animation. That could have made those monsters crazy looking and do all sorts of crazy shit. But instead they're choosing to ground their movements and make it seem way more like something that you could also pull off in, or like make it sure that this is something you don't have to do in animation. You could pull this off in live action with just, some guy in a costume and some special effects.
I did like how the kaiju would kind of sway back and forth as if it was a guy. Because growing up, I absolutely loved the old Godzilla movies. I got pretty much all of them on VHS myself, and that's how they would kind of move in those wild, wacky rubber suits. I was like, okay, I like that. Ton of references to all Trigger/Gainax shows, and especially Ultraman. They even reference it in episode 1. They specifically say Ultraman. And while I was watching, I go, oh, is this like a remake of Ultraman or something? And I didn't know Gridman was its own thing back in the day. I thought this was I thought originally, before I was informed later, that this was just Ultraman kind of remake, in a way.
In a way. A reimagining, if you will. But I think, honestly, I was not very keen on this one. Starting off, I thought it was okay, but it didn't, sell me on it. But as it's been going on, I've just noticed myself, I've been enjoying this more and more. It's just a ton of fun.
That's usually a consensus.
And if you're a Tokusatsu fan, you're gonna have a lot. I think you're gonna have this one. So, absolutely, if you're a Tokusatsu fan and you're for some reason not watching Gridman, then fucking get on that.
Yeah, I enjoy Tokusatsu, and I've been having the time of my life. No, not really, but I am enjoying very much this show. There was one point of between episode 3 and 5, it hit it slow, but it's usually like that with Trigger shows. The construction of the tension is not very good.
Mm-hmm.
As fast as they can, because it's Trigger and it will end in space. Probably.
They have confirmed that this will not end in space, Vicky.
I don't believe Trigger.
I don't believe
it. I don't believe them either. I'll believe it when it actually happens.
All right.
Cool.
It's literally about aliens, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I don't want to give a spoiler on this show, so I'll talk it after we're done, but there's a way they can finish it on space, okay?
There is.
Yeah. It's a very good show. I guess the really big problem I have is they use CG for Gridman and the kaiju, and it's not the problem is not with the CG, but the FPS rate they use. They used a very low FPS rate for the CG, so it looks like
Yes, I hated that.
yeah, and I sincerely don't like when anime. It's
There
not
was
that
even
it's
there was
low
even
frame
a
rate.
moment in the first episode where like the two characters are talking. This is when this is like one of the first things that happens in the show. And while the girl and guy are conversing with each other, and Tori, you were saying it was like a method they used to show them discussing whatever the hell they were talking about over a period of time. The screen, instead of showing like what they did in Dirty Pair, where characters would kind of turn real quick, in Gridman the screen jerks, and it happened multiple times in that one scene, and I actually felt sick. It was a really weird response for me.
It's an odd thing. Like, I don't particularly understand their decision to do it. Like, I understand that they want to, like, you know, they're obviously. So I understand the point of, like, to not make it too serious, they're trying to make it comedic, so they're, like, cutting to poses rather than having them, like, move around. Like, they're being more static and just cutting to poses. But for some reason, what they opt to do is, like, slightly adjust the camera very often whenever they do that. And honestly, the best thing I can, the best thing I can say, or the best kind of idea that I have as to why they would do this is kind of, if you ever watched a YouTube video, you will know that there's one cardinal sin in a YouTube video, and that is to have any sort of still image. That means that if you have anything that doesn't move, you need to make it move somehow, usually by zooming in or zooming out is what people tend to do, or by moving the camera around. And I feel like Trigger has kind of had one of those where they feel like, to not make this too stationary, we need to move the camera. I feel like they just got a bit of YouTuber panic. Like, move the camera. We can't have still frames.
Well, okay.
Uh-oh. Hickey. I think he's dying.
I believe that. Hello?
All right.
Hello?
There you go.
Okay, I am back. Okay, as I was talking. God damn it, Tori, you were right, you call it. Oh, damn it.
Yeah, oh yeah, right. I was about, what are you talking
technical
about?
problems, yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. It all makes sense in post.
Yes.
Yeah. But as I was saying, it's like when the kaiju fight with Gridman, they use the extremely low frame rate. Anime already has a low frame rate. I think it's like between 12, 15 FPS. But this one, it looks like they went with 6 FPS to the CG, which makes it half of the FPS used in the animation, which makes everyone janky and laggy. It feels like the CGI is lagging when it and it doesn't look very good, but that is fine. That's fine. Because I'm a Tokusatsu fan, and whenever I see a kaiju fighting a guy in a costume, I start screaming, and that is the best thing the show can give to me.
Well, speaking of shows that can do things good for you, Hickey, you have Bunny Girl Senpai you'd like to talk about. The full title's Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
Are you actually kidding me? A show that would be good things to me. If they wanted to do good things to me, the fucking author would search and research fucking physics he uses in. Here we go. That's gonna take a while, so I hope you guys sit back
Well,
and
give us kind of the quick rundown then.
yeah. The actual name of the show is Senshu Butayaru wa Bunny Girl Senpai no Yume wa Min. Yeah. The youth bastard does not dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, which I think is a callback to Does Electric Ships. No, Does Androids Dreams of Electric Ships?
You are absolutely correct. That is the reference.
Yeah. Oh, that's so bad.
What reference is that?
Blade Runner.
Oh.
The actual book that Blade Runner was based on.
Why would they
Really good
reference
book.
that?
Because they like to be pretentious and pseudo-intellectual.
Okay, fair enough.
This show tells the story of Sakuta Sugazawa, a second-year student at a high school near the city of Enoshima. And it basically tells the story of him meeting several girls, which has a problem. And this problem is called puberty.
Puberty syndrome.
Puberty. It's very close to the Portuguese one, so I cannot.
Oh, fair enough. If you want to say it in Portuguese, go for it.
No.
Nah, puberty. Okay, close enough. And what it happens is this syndrome causes some supernatural things to happen to those girls and other people, and it's caused by the youth stress. Let's put it like that. And basically, he was a victim of that. His sister was a victim of that. And whenever he finds someone in distress, he tries to help. And the first one is Sakajima Mai, a upperclassman. Mm-hmm. She was an actress and left this career. And basically, he was walking down or in a library, if I'm not mistaken, and he sees his senpai using a bunny girl's costume in the middle of everyone, but no one seems to notice. And what happens is no one can see her. So basically, he starts the show with the first case, and then you have the second case and the third case, and now we are in the fourth case. Technically, the sixth case, because you have his case and his sister case. But regardless, it is a very good show. Actually, I'll leave my complaints to the end. It is actually a very good show, very good animation. The music is fine, but what I would say about the OST is that the music director and the actual director of the show were in a quite good sync when they made it. So the music shines when it needs to shine. It fits the scenes. Everything works finally. It probably has the best opening theme and ending theme of the season.
You're kidding me. The opening is terrible.
No, I'm talking about, well, the opening is very catchy, but when I say opening theme, I'm not talking about the music. I'm talking about the overall opening, the animation, the direction work, the music, and how they decided to show it. First of all, it doesn't have spoilers on the opening, only a few characters, but only show the characters. It doesn't show the problem facing, which is very good. The problem really hits when you get to the story. And there's one girl called Futaba, and she's the scientist girl. The best character, my favorite character. But whenever she talks a bunch of bullshit. Because Asugasawa is not a very smart guy, and that's another good thing about the show. Asugasawa, or Sakuta, is a character. He's not you. He has a personality. Guys, he has a personality. It's something that it's really rare these days in anime. But he has his own personality.
The main character, male, yeah.
Yeah, having his own personality and not being a blank state so you can see yourself. No, he's actually a main character. He's a proper main character, a well-built main character. But he's not very smart. So he knows there's this syndrome and he wants to treat the So what he goes is he takes the symptoms and goes to Futaba and says, these are the symptoms. Please help me figure out how I can deal with it. So usually what she does is tell him the syndrome is related to some quantum physics. And she lays down some context and some definitions to the quantum physics things she's talking about,
Right.
the theories and so
Schrodinger's
on.
cat and stuff like that, Laplace's demon.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Schrodinger bunny, and that's where the show is bad. Because there's one thing that is being so intellectual, and that's what Sword Art Online does. It just invents a bunch of terms, and you need to accept it because they are invented just to, make the show looks intelligent. That's what Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann did with the Dirac in the later episode. But this show is pretentious, and being pretentious is very bad for an author and writer because you're basically writing about things you don't understand. You shouldn't write about things. There's a lot of things you shouldn't do when you write, and two things. I think it's the worst things you can store, which is making a complicated story. You should always aim to have a simple story. And the second thing is being pretentious, writing about things you don't understand. And this guy doesn't understand quantum physics. But I don't blame him, because quantum physics is a mess, and you shouldn't try to understand it unless you are a physician or you're just an idiot like me. So basically, you start with the Schrodinger cat or Schrodinger bunny, where basically Futaba goes, well, people only see what they want to see, and this is the experiment Schrodinger did with the Schrodinger cat, which is wrong. The Schrodinger cat was an example set to explain the Schrodinger formula, which kind of articulate a particular behavior of protons when shot from a proton cannon on a blade. It's quite complex, but you get the idea. Schrodinger cat is not a theory.
Is it important at all to the story going on, or are they just spouting science for the sake of science?
It's what they use to kind of justify the things that happen.
Yeah, to justify what is going on, and it's wrong. The second one is the Laplace's demon. The second one, Laplace's demon, or La Petite Demon de Laplace. French, and I use French for that, and that's basically what Asugasawa says in the series. They mix modern physics, Laplace, with quantum physics, with quantum entanglement, and say, well, Futaba goes, well, you kicked her, and you had a connection with her. That's why you got quantum tangled, and that's why both of you are going through the situation.
It sounds closer to string theory, if anything.
But that's not how it works, because quantum physics works very well in the macro, not the micro universe, not the macro universe. So that's simple how quantum entanglement works, especially. It's too I won't dive in the quantum physics.
I don't think it's worth getting into when.
Yeah, I'll just go.
The show is probably more about this dude meeting a girl, and then the girl has a thing. The third case is the worst one, because it talks about quantum entanglement, no locality, maybe teleportation, but it's actually the light speed factor in the relativity theory. It's a mess. It's just a mess, and they use it to justify. They relay some definitions, and they run with it like it's what is happening. And this is very pretentious. Very, very, very. The fourth story, I think they would just drop the physics because they didn't mention anything yet. But that hurts the show, and it hurts the show a lot. It is a simple story. It has a very good animation. In my opinion, probably the best opening theme, the best ending theme. For this story, the basis of the story is so pretentious. I just cannot
I cannot hear the physics of the show. Trying to explain the physics of the show and how wrong they are to a friend of mine gave me a headache. And
it sounds like what you're having an issue with how they keep spouting off about physics and science terms is kind of my issue with what Land of the Lustrous was in geology sense. Alright, Hickey, I'm gonna have to interrupt you. Hickey, I'm gonna have to interrupt you. Tori, give me your thoughts over Bunny Girl Senpai.
Oh, okay. See, the way I want to explain just how it does is you can kind of think like what Monogatari does in there, because they share not a lot of similarities, but they share some similarities. And what they do is they will... yeah, he's not going to stop.
I don't think he can hear us. This is quite funny, actually.
Yeah, but anyways, so what happens is, like, in Monogatari, a lot of the things that happens to the girls there are based in Japanese mythology,
right,
in some way or another. And that's what they use to justify the things that happens to them. Bunny Girl Senpai goes for something kind of similar, but again, like Hiki says, they use quantum physics for it. And the problem there is that it works in Monogatari because obviously, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? Oh, your mythology is wrong. Right. I mean, obviously it is, but like, it's.
I mean, you can make the cause for the vampire, which is pretends Monogatari.
Well, yes, but again,
he can get away with more things. There.
Exactly right, and that's in Bunny Girl. It's kind of like you have that problem the entire time. It is just like he doesn't understand quantum physics enough to actually tie it into the story. Therefore, it becomes what's happening to Sakura Jimamai, for example. Well, here is a theory. Here's Schrodinger's cat theory, and that then somehow is the basis for her not being able to be seen by others because they are impacted by because she is impacted by oh my god. The puberty syndrome, which in turn has made the entire class, because she comes off as cold, the entire class wants to leave her alone, and because everyone is, quote-unquote, getting a clue, they ignore her, and since she is being ignored by everyone, her very existence is fading from everyone's memory, and thus she no longer exists. Kinda. So, it's
I swear I've watched something before where... the more people ignore you, you end up...
It's the same thing. They use that in Chaos Head.
Yeah.
So it was like a pseudo-intellectualism.
No,
where they said,
it wasn't Chaos Head I was thinking.
We have a Dirac thing that makes a quote of antimatter, and people cannot see us. We are ignored because we are transitating through the antimatter. We are always in the
I kind of just wish
a lot of people. It's just
yeah. I kind of just wish though that the author, because what he really, especially with that case, what he really wants to get through is kind of the social cues. Mm-hmm. His kind of thing is social cues. It's not the first time he's written a story about this, right? And he kind of like, oh, people, if people sense that, especially in like a high school setting, when kids sense that somebody's ignoring you, and especially if that person's popular and whatnot, and that's what everybody does, and everybody else is going to follow that. And that's kind of what he does, especially with that first case. But again, it's kind of that unnecessary tie-in of quantum physics that's kind of makes you go, oh yeah, this is a light novel.
Yeah, if every case was like the first one, I would be fine. It would be pseudo-intellectualism. But the second one, and especially the third one, they're just no. Which is very unfortunate because it's a very good show.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I just enjoy the general bullshit between the characters, because the banter, especially with Sakta and everybody else, like Sakta, he's a piece of shit, and I love that. He'll just say whatever he thinks, no matter what it is, no matter who it is. Just like, oh, you're staring at me, aren't you? Yes, I am.
So despite its flaws, you still like the banter.
Yep.
It seems. Okay.
Quite a lot.
Alright, well. Alright, I think we've gone on long enough with Bunny Girl Senpai.
No, we need to talk more quantum physics.
More quantum physics in the post-show.
Yeah. Oh, I hated learning physics in school personally, so.
Oh, I really liked it. I almost ended up as a physician.
So your second anime was something I watched the first episode of, and I enjoyed it much more than I thought I was, and it's called Skullface Bookseller Honda-san. So tell us a little bit about that, Hickey.
Well, there's nothing much to say about it. It's about Honda-san, which is a skeleton, and he works as a bookseller in a bookstore along with a cast of interesting people. This show is based on I think it's a web manga released on Pixiv.
It was
where the author, he wrote it as he was experiencing it on his job. The author was a bookseller, and whenever something happened, he would just work. Some weird stuff would happen, and he would come home and draw and write a story about his impressions about it and how he thinks the other people, how they react, and maybe a little bit of how he felt about the reaction being expressed on the personality of that character, which is very funny, especially when it needs to be funny because there's little to no animation at all. But it doesn't hurt the show. Very simple show.
Yeah, episodes are only about, 11 minutes?
Yeah, I would say 11, 15
2 parts
minutes.
each?
Yep. And very, very funny. He tells a little bit about how book selling works and how, they arrange the shelves, his meetings with people from the industry and how they behave, which is very funny because this show was licensed by Kadokawa. And he worked not arranging things from Kadokawa, but he, had meetings with representatives of Kadokawa and things. So the only people that are fairly representing the show are the Kadokawa one. And he's honest about his experience, saying, I think the Kadokawa guy was diligent, but sometimes he was very lazy and delayed the printing. So they would panic about it because they wouldn't have enough copies. Said light novel or manga, and if they don't have, people would get mad and assault them.
So you convinced me, Hickey, to.
So yeah, it's a very interesting show, especially when the foreigners appear.
Yeah. So I went into it, like, the way you were describing it, I thought it was going to be more along the line of Iyashike. Is that how you pronounce it? No, Iyashike. How you pronounce it?
Iyashike.
Which is more, it's more of what would you call that? The heartwarming soul experience, where you just watch a show and it's supposed to give you the good feels, the simple feels. And we have a Twitch raid going on right now, so thank you everybody for tuning in to this simple anime podcast. But Hickey, you were very adamant. You go, no, it's not Iyashike. There's a lot more to it. It's not as chill as it may seem. Because when you say
it's actually the opposite,
dude who runs bookstore, it sounds pretty. I wouldn't say moe, but I was thinking more along the lines of kind of those shows where it's always like a girl working in a restaurant and she.
Denkigai no Honya-san. That's the moe version of bookstores.
Yeah, it's a moe skeleton dealing with Western comics in a bookstore.
Yeah, so I thought the show was pretty funny. I love the art style. I always like unique art style like that. Another show that kind of has that strange outlines to characters and color schemes was Rine. the Rumiko Takahashi one, kind of her greatest hits through the years, all into one anime. But yeah, I quite enjoyed it. There's a lot more mature humor going into it than I was expecting, with a lot of the there's a bunch of lesbians that go in, they want a bunch of boy love manga, and it's like one instance that stuck out was a woman goes up to the skeleton bookstore owner. I have a thing for long blonde-haired men. Is he the one on top or bottom? This is important to me.
Yeah, can you imagine you working in a bookstore and people coming to you and asking that?
Well, I've had people when I worked at a bowling alley and Lowe's and wherever I've been. There's always just odd questions that come up, and you just kind of raise your eyebrow. You go, I don't know the answer to that, but let's work with this.
Oh, so you've been asked about yaoi before? Got it.
Well,
I have been asked about.
Can you recommend me the best yaoi manga, JD?
Yeah, and
you're clearly an expert in this field.
And this is very interesting about the show is that actually happened to him, and when he came home and he just wrote a story about it. And it's very funny because there's a Texan guy that appeared, and there's also a Brazilian guy, and the Brazilian guy is the best part of the show so far.
He was
when he goes to a bookstore.
Was the Brazilian guy the handsome dude?
No, he appears later, and there's like they ask Honda-san to help a customer, and he just have "I am from Brazil" written in the shirt, and he goes hugs Honda-san, and he says, "I have an important question to you." And Honda and this is something also the show does is they invert the language, so the Brazilian guy and any other foreigner, they were speaking Japanese, but Honda, the Japanese guy, he speaks in English. So it's very interesting because the Brazilian guy hold him by his shoulders and say, "I have an important question for you." And he's like, "Yes. Why manga is black and white?" It's like out of nowhere. And he tries to explain it. After he explains, the Brazilian guy's like, "Oh, okay. I just wanted a Japanese opinion over it. Now, where is this place?" And Honda-san just shows how to go to the place, and the Brazilian guy goes out of the bookstore. So basically, the Brazilian guy was just lost, and he decided to ask Honda-san a question and left.
100% hickey when he goes to Japan.
Right.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. Yeah. Why lollies? I just want your opinion. Okay, thank you. How do I get to this place? Thank you. Hugs the person. Goodbye. Goes out.
Come back again 5 minutes later. Actually, I'm buying some manga.
So I was pleasantly
Can you recommend me the best yaoi?
Out of all the anime I ended up watching, just for impression purposes, this was the one that surprised me the most, and I got the best impression out of. So, Icky, you were right about this one.
I am right about a lot of things. You just watch the ones I never said you should watch. I
had to give everything a try for research purposes.
But you didn't. Not even close.
You didn't. Exactly, you didn't. You didn't
watch Zombieland Saga?
I didn't watch Idol Show, no. Bunny Girl, no. Just, I already...
Index 3, no.
I've seen Index before. I'm not going to go check out Season 3.
You should watch it all, JD, goddammit. You need to catch up so that I can know your opinion on Season 3.
Or Index. Boring. Anyways. Let's move on. My first anime.
I think we just skip JD.
Oh, we just skip me altogether. I'm gonna be definitely a lot shorter with my impressions. So, my first one is Run with the Wind, which is a anime about a bunch of college kids that want to run in basically a marathon race in Japan. It's highly competitive. So think of something along the lines of Yomushi Pedal, where it's a group of guys training to this big long marathon event. Well, where this anime is different is, yes, it's about a bunch of dudes in college, and it focuses on not really the main character who gets roped in to this dorm room and then there's a stipulation that if you live here, you have to join the track team of the college and train for this race. Well, the main character has kind of, and we still don't know much about his past. We know something bad happened to him in high school. He's this kind of prodigy type runner. He's really good. And he was isolated from his team, and then some sort of event happened that ruined it. Well, so he has a kind of a redemption story going along for himself, why he runs, why he needs to be part of this team, while this other character who put this ragtag team together, he seems to be motivated from kind of a spiritual standpoint, which I find very interesting. Like everyone has a place. It's very, I want to say, Buddha-esque, has a sense of Buddhism to it. I got the feeling, along with Christianity. I got multiple religious tones from it, but he clearly came down with some sort of major injury to his one of his running legs, and his whole goal seems to be just competing in this race. Winning is obviously a goal, but just being a part of it seems to be his more simplistic goal, and to have this team together. So kind of his last hurrah as he's about to enter adulthood and exit college. So he's put this team together. It's got a bunch of different unique characters too. You got some twins. You got an anime type character who can't run worth shit. He has no physical skill, but he's sort of this main character kind of tricks all of them and motivates them in their own special ways. So like the anime character, he goes, well, I mean, if you're not going to be part of this race, we just got to pack up all your he's got manga stacked to the ceiling. He's like, I can't do this. I can't move. Well, you go, well, here are the boxes, or are you going to run with us tomorrow? And you're like, all right, I'll run. And each character seems to have their own sort of moment and line, which impacts the main character in some certain way. So my favorite line is definitely from the manga character, the manga lover character, where he's all exhausted after a race, and one of our main characters' ex-teammates kind of confronts him and gets in his face, like, aren't you embarrassed to be with these guys running, they're not at your level, and the guy's passed out in the background, the manga lover, and he goes, it's always about levels with these motherfuckers, essentially. Why can't we just run and better ourselves, kind of deal. So good shining moments. It had, the character art's, above average. I kind of like it. It has a sort of uniqueness to it, but not really. Not much else with music and animation. It's all pretty standard for the time that we're in. Are you guys watching this show, or is this kind of like Sarune, where you're just kind of skipping over it?
Yeah, I don't care.
I wasn't interested, but there's a lot of people talking about it. There's a fair amount.
Yeah. But that's pretty much all I got to say about it. I mean, I want to see more. I want to see a quicker development with our main character rather than what we're seeing. I think we're about halfway through the season right now, and we just got to that point where the whole team they have to get official record times in order to compete in the major race. I think it's called the Hakone, and at this trial event, our main character kind of, it's kind of his motivation now to join the team, since he's experienced not being number one kind of for the first time. And if you're a sports advocate, you're so used to being the best in so many areas that when you finally get defeated handily, that there are people better than you out there, it kind of opens your eyes to your own situation. I think the show's handling a lot of things well. It is a bit on the slower side, so I'm kind of hoping the pace kind of picks up a little bit more. Not to say it's a bad thing.
Run with the Wind. That's going to be two core, isn't it? We're going to next season as well.
I think it's like a weird 23 episodes or something.
Well, yes, but that means that it's going to go over 2 seasons.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So that's a show we will not be doing review for coming down the line. Yeah, it's a weird 23 episodes, so they definitely got time. That's for sure.
I don't think 23 episodes is that way when you think about the fact that there are shows now that get like 16 episodes.
Yeah, well. The other show that's getting a weird number is Radiant. That has 21 episodes coming. But we're not talking about Radiant. My next one is, unless you guys have any other thoughts you'd like to say on it.
Nah, I'm saying it.
Okay, fair enough.
It is very okay.
I think it's one of the better ones I'm watching from the season for sure. Considering I'm
Very
not watching Bunny Girl or Goblin Slayer or Zombieland, yeah.
The best one.
The best. Yeah. Well, yeah, it is okay. It is okay. It is a shonen. It is okay. Very good to see the foreigner look over a shonen type cinema. So yeah, it is very okay.
And then the last anime we'll be doing impressions on is one of my, how do I put this? The most shocking anime I've seen that's impressed me from, I'm thanking you, Hickey. I'm thanking
again,
our friend
again.
I'm thanking our friend Meowth from the Discord and Twitter that opened my eyes to watch it. So you two get your thanks. It's Karakuri Circus. Same creator as Ushio Tora. Yep. And the art style is very much kind of that old gritty early 90s style. I believe the manga came out in the late 90s, so that would make sense.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. Yeah, it has some of those tropes from from shonen, back in the 90s, which is fair enough. That seems to be a major critique with this, though, because not a lot of people are watching this, even less than Skullface bookseller Honda-san, according to my anime list. But it's long story short, it's about a kid who comes from a rich family. His father died. There's groups coming for his money, and it involves a lot of puppet fighting. That's the first impression. And then after a few episodes, you come to find out that there's a much more sinister plot unfolding with another character in the show, because he suffers from a disease which is essentially like an over-panic disease where you are influenced by the mental state of people around you. So I thought at my first impression of that was, that's a stupid disease. But then once kind of the show has introduced everything and what's going to happen, it takes a turn, a really good twist, and makes that stupid disease part of the overall sinister plot, and it just molds together so much better than I could even imagine. And that's where the show just took off, and it hasn't stopped since. I really enjoy it. Yeah, sure, there are instances where there's shonen cheese, very much in the along the lines of those 90s shonen shows that we've come, Yu Yu Hakusho, Ushio Tora from back then, even the remake, what would you call that, guys? The show coming out again.
I would call it a remake.
Yeah, remake.
It was a remake. It wasn't a re-air. It was a remake. They remade everything. Yeah, it's
kind of like what JoJo was, Stardust Crusaders was.
Yeah. Part 1.
But yeah, Hickey, like, great show. It's one of the more mature shonen shows out there. I think if you're a shonen fan, this is a must-watch. It's one of the better shows of 2018, in my opinion.
Yeah, I stumbled across the manga when I was in the beginning of high school. It's been 8 years already. Very good. I really enjoy the manga, and when it was announced, I was like, I know this name. I remember this name. I remember one of the scenes of the show, which I can, if I say Burning Mansion, JD will know what I'm talking about, or an arm, a particular arm. I remember that. I was like, oh, it's that manga. Damn, it's the very old manga, and it is only getting adapted now. And I'm glad it was, because I think it's a very good story.
Yeah, it's not what I was expecting. I was honestly, I was expecting simple fighting sequences revolving around these giant puppets, and in a sense, yeah, it is that, but there's so much more to it. And I think if you're a Yu Yu Hakusho fan, if you're an Uchiha Tora fan, if you're looking for a shonen that isn't, you know, a main character screaming in your face the whole time with trope-filled shit, aka Black Clover, if you're looking for an alternative to My Hero Academia, if you're looking for something more mature than Radiant, because that's something that's going on right now, yeah, Karakuri Circus is for you. That's my impression. I hope the pace just keeps up, because I have really nothing horrible or negative to say about it right now. I like everything. It does fall along that line of no body, no death situation, but that's just anime in general. You know? You don't sound too enthused, Tori. What's up?
It's shonen. I don't like shonen.
Oh, I know that. It's just like
exactly.
Mecha. But you like Gridman.
But I do like Gridman. Like, fucking don't do this to me. There are exceptions. There will always be exceptions. Look at even just going to fucking graph.anime, and looking at my least favorite genres. Shonen is fucking down there.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. That should be no surprise. I'm a shonen whore for sure. I'll admit it. But every once in a while, there comes an anime that is an exception. And Tori, I'll say this to you, and I think Hickey's with me on this. Check it out. Yep. You might be surprised.
It is very fun to watch, and it is a light show. Like, doesn't drag out or anything like that. You just watch it. It goes on quickly, as quick as it can be. It's already over. That was very enjoyable.
You say it's similar to Uchiha Tora, and to be fair, yeah. I did enjoy Uchiha Tora for a while, but starting up with the second season, I started to really grow tired of Uchiha Tora. So that's really kind of my motivation as to why I just stay away from it, because I'm just like, I don't want more of that.
Okay. Well, alrighty then. That does it for our fall 2018 impressions. And if you're joining us live via Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, and the Mixer, welcome. Mostly Twitch and Periscope today. At BowlingJD, Red Leaf Retrocast over on the YouTube. Go subscribe now, today. Go leave us a review on iTunes. And speaking of iTunes, guys, we have a bunch of reviews that have come in.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and let me just pull one of them up right now so we can read on the podcast. How about that?
Woo! We haven't done that in forever.
We have not.
Yeah. What are you talking about, Tori? We do this all the time.
Well, we don't get it. Yes. We don't get enough reviews. I would like more. It was kind of a motivation for the contest. I'm not gonna beat around the bush there. And our first one came from Lil Cap from the USA. Came for the wrestling, stayed for everything else. JD and everyone really do in-depth work. Opened my eyes to different anime that I'm totally new to, as well as a lot of fun, easy listening conversations about retro games. And from a wrestling perspective, the knowledge on various promotions is so solid. Highly recommend. 5 stars. Well, thank you, Lil Cap. Very nice of you. Especially since they were kind enough to name me by name. Ha ha ha. A little ego boost there. So thank you for the 5-star review. If you would like to leave us a 5-star review, we will read it on the podcast. So there you go.
you would like to leave us any review, do so.
Yeah, I guess even the bad ones, they do get fun.
They don't have to be bad, but I don't want to be the kind of guy fucking our review was 5 stars. So you think we deserve a fucking 3-star, then fucking put that down there. Let us know why we deserve a 3-star. Let us know why we deserve a 2-star.
I would prefer 5, obviously.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I'm going to play now the drop, and we can get into our retro anime review. Gotta get to dropping the ball. Here we go. Go, Astro Boy! Okay. Nice and quick drop there. Gunslinger Girl, singular. Hickey, this was a show you brought to our attention and we're reviewing.
Yes. I sure pretty much enjoying. Apparently you guys not, but that's fine, we're gonna get you.
So, it was a show that came out fall 2003. So it just made the cut. It's from Studio Madhouse. And the plot, taken from Anime Planet, is, or the summary anyways, Henrietta is a young girl who works for a welfare group, quote unquote, that does the government's dirty work. Cybernetically enhanced and specially trained, she is one of a group of elite hit girls, kind of like Hitman, but girls, remorseless killers with no memories of their past. Jose, her partner, has taken care of her since she was brought into...
What?
Excuse me?
Excuse me? It's not Jose, it's Jews. He's
Whatever.
Italian, it's not Jose. that is just wrong.
Whatever. It's not a big deal. Since she was brought into the organization following the murder of her family and struggles between his affection for her and his opposing duty to his employer. But time is running out, ... For with each bullet they fire, Henrietta and the other girls lose a little more of their humanity.
Yeah. They
Ugh.
are not technically humans anymore.
They definitely make it known right off the bat that they are not humans. They are tools.
Yeah, I mean, they are.
Very dangerous, weaponized little girls.
Some of which have even had their, let's not go there.
Well, it is worth mentioning, this was based first in a lolicon hentai, an original story by the same name, Gunslinger Girl. But someone told the mangaka from the hentai he had a very good story and he should make a serious manga. But you still have some reflections of the lolicon hentai in the series, and some phrases like, oh, girls in this age are the best, things like that. And Jews interactions with Anhita, they're a little bit weird, and the tone is a little bit weird as well. But that's because it was firstly
the lack of a uterus,
and you can still find it if you want to look up. You can find the original lolicon hentai. Although I think the manga is better. Of course.
You sure? You sure about that?
I'm not so sure about that either.
I am sure about that. Oh yeah, how do we start at the beginning? Well, basically, there's a secretary on the EU Special Forces called the Welfare Group, and you have two separate units, and Unit 2, I think, is the one with the little girls. They go around, choose girls that are dying to be part of an experiment where they will just put a bunch of cybernetic prosthetics on these girls and make them kicking ass fighting robots, basically.
and they'll also
they also
condition their they'll also brainwash them.
Basically brainwash them to forget the past. Because sincerely, most of these girls, well, all of these girls have a very fucked up past. Henrietta had her family killed and was beaten up the whole night, and I think it was in the hentai she was raped.
No, I mean
it wasn't very
I
good.
watched the show on
in the anime they don't mention. That's what I'm saying.
No.
Just
I watched this show on Netflix, and when they were talking about what had happened, there was the strong implication that she was raped all night.
Yeah, and that happened as she was like side by side with her family's bodies. She lost an eye and leg.
Yeah,
and she basically was thinking of suicide all the time. She was chosen. You had people, girls in comas. You had Triella, which was part of human trafficking that went wrong. All those kind of fucked up things.
Yeah,
so
the show really
they brainwashed them.
Puts it out there right in your face immediately that you need to feel bad for these girls.
I don't think so. It's my opinion. I don't think you need to be. You don't need to feel bad for the show. I think it's more for a moral dilemma than feeling bad.
Yeah, I have to agree with Eki.
What is the best
for them?
What
I got from it.
Let them be kids in the fucked up state they were in the hospital, or give them a short life, because they don't have a short life anyway. But will they die in a hospital with an innocent life, or die after being used as a killing machine? That is basically but they have a little bit of a better life. That's basically it. And I never felt sorry for those girls. Sincerely, never felt anything. And if I were you, I would be with the welfare group. I would just weaponize little girls, because I think they would have a better life. It's my opinion, of course, in this moral dilemma they pose to you.
Yeah, I mean, you have the different handlers as well. They all treat them differently.
They all treat them within their own little personality world that suits their needs.
Exactly.
But
that's somebody's like, you know, fucking like Giuseppe, like he wants to try to let Henrietta have as normal of a life as possible whenever she's not at work. But then, of course, you have people like, what's his name? The blonde dude.
Yeah, the German.
Yeah. It was just like, fucking, they're tools. Who gives a shit?
Each handler felt like they were stereotypes of their country they came from.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know.
Jim wasn't using his hands to talk and screaming. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's just a lot about this show that just rubbed me the wrong way. Just from start to
finish.
I will
say this, though.
Especially those first 2 episodes. Oh my god, just atrocious.
Dude. Yes. Yeah, no, I said that was the two of the worst episodes of anime I've ever seen. But like, it's if they were proper representations of their country, if the handlers were proper representations of their country, then Giuseppe should have been beating Henrietta every fucking night. Because goddamn it, he's Italian and they're violent as shit with their kids.
No, that's just the women.
No, that's the men too. Oh, fucking, have you been to an Italian school? Fucking, no, if you fucking say that they go call on you to have like a presentation or be like, can you read this in front of class? And you go like, no, fucking, they're getting that roller out. They're beating you in front of class.
Is corporal punishment still allowed in Italy?
It is very much allowed. It's encouraged.
I mean, I've experienced the German school system. It was fine. It was very just go to class mentality. I mean,
should have gone to Italy instead.
No,
had more fun.
That sounds horrible.
JD, you're gonna get spanked now.
God.
Anyway, move on.
Anyway, like they have conditioning, and basically the cybernetic prosthetics fuck up the body. They cannot grow basically, and they will grow because they still have human parts, and that causes major pain. Every time they get hurt, they need to go under surgery to repair the part. The conditioning fucks up the brain, and they can always make them more conditioned. And they mention that a lot of times in the show because it makes them more obedient, so more like a machine.
Yeah, one of the girls at one point even has a line, "Why don't you just increase my conditioning if I'm a problem?"
Yeah, but that shortens the lifespan. It shortens the lifespan, so like Juice doesn't want it because, like I said, like we said, he wants Henrietta to have a normal life as far as she can, because she's dying in like 2 or 3 years. They show that with one of the characters at the end of the season, where she doesn't remember things and she can't walk anymore. She's on a bed, things like that. It fucks up. What I like about the show is that it's the subtle tones to very fucked up things. Talk about even the terrorism they are facing with extreme right group, with the girls and how they behave. You have the Elsa episode, which I think is very fine, where she kills her brother, Fratello, because she loved the guy, but the guy treated her like a tool. So that's what happens when you don't treat your tools the right way. They will just shoot you in the head and then commit suicide. You know, and this subtle, fucked up atmosphere Gunslinger Girl brings to the table, it's something I appreciate, and that's why I like it.
I don't know. I feel like if there's one thing that I thought lacked a lot in this show, it was kind of that the opposing view, because like you kind of just get that, especially in the first season. Mostly, yes, you're right. You do have that, like showing like this what happens when you treat them badly, but like you still kind of just have this, like the moral dilemma being that should you leave them be or should you use them, or should you just turn them into tools, or at least give them an opportunity to have a proper life? And then it's like, well, the alternative sucks, and then whatever.
Yeah, in both sides of the dilemma, you have in treating like a tool, you have Elsa. But in the treating like a normal human being, you have Henrietta. Henrietta keeps a body count of people she killed for Jews. And he says she has a body count. That's not something a girl should be doing. You know, Jews is pretty much conflicted on his own. You have her attacking allies to defend Jews because he treats her like a normal girl, and apparently he shouldn't be doing that, which makes her ultra violent to whoever approaches him. Those kind of things. You have both sides. I think you have both views of the same argument. I think it's not very good because it's too restricted. I think make some mission, go back, some dilemma, and done the episode. That is basically the structure of every.
Give me a beer.
It's very, let's put it like that, it's very GTA like. It's go.
No wonder I don't like
make
it.
The mission. No, it's more GTA 4 like. Let's put it like that.
No wonder I don't like it.
Oh, Tori.
because Nico is a gun for hire, so it's usually go there, kill the guy, go back, have a little story. It's the same basic structure here, but I think it has a more subtle, fucked up atmosphere because we're talking about little girls and killing and what is better for them, a life in the hospital, a shortened life in the hospital, or short life as a killing.
See, you keep saying the word subtle to it about the moral dilemmas and kind of that focus on what the girls are going through and how, I guess, we the viewers should go. I didn't feel like it was subtle at all. It was just always in our face every episode. Yeah, I've read reviews that say the same thing you're saying, Hickey, and I'm just not agreeing with that.
I think so, because I'm not talking about going guns blazing. That's not part of the moral conflict. It's not a part about the moral dilemma. It's you go in there and you're talking about what is going on in a mission, and Juicy says, she keeps a body count of people she killed for me. So
No, I understand
encouraging her. And you go to a mission in the hotel, and Rico is finally showing she can, smile and be happy. At the end, she needs to kill a young boy. You go to Triela episode, and Triela is having colleagues, and Hirta is like, well, I wish I was in your place. They removed my uterus, so I cannot feel anything. I cannot feel those things. That is the subtle things. It's not in your face. They're not feel bad for this person. Oh, she's training. Oh, she's killing. Oh, she was in a hospital bed. Those are not the important part, and those are not part of the subtle part of the show. It's about those little comments, about the little expressions they make from time, and how to treat them, and the consequences of treating them as they treat them. I think that's when I mean subtle, that's what I mean. And I think that's most reviews. And
see, I just don't see it was subtle, because every episode had this formula. Because there isn't, you're not here for the plot, because there really isn't. The formula goes, the government assigns the girl and handler, or multiple, for this mission. They go do the mission. It's over in maybe a minute or two, tops. Then there's an intermission period in between those missions that are given out. And during this intermission period, it focuses on one of the girls in the show. And it's always, every time they start talking, it was always about questioning their own existence and what their purpose was, and that then wrapped around to their conditioning and how they feel about their handler, or them being a girl. Should this the one that stood out to me the most, when I guess it was when Rico met a boy, and the boy wanted to protect her, but then her handbag was stolen, and that led to her questioning her own existence and her purpose with her Onisan. That was her conditioning. That was the formula, and just it felt every single episode to me was the exact same thing, and I got super bored and irritated with it. And to me, there's nothing worse than being overly bored with every episode. And you guys we've covered shows on the podcast where you guys have felt something similar.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. I just don't think that if you figure out the formula, I don't think it makes it less subtle. You just figure out the formula. You come here as well. I can make the same cases. A shonen has a formula. You love the formula of shonen. Just because everyone figured out the formula, it doesn't make less shonen. It doesn't make.
But you have to enjoy that formula. It has to be entertaining. If it's like a loop in a game, you got to make the game loop interesting and willing to repeat that sequence over and over again. In this sense, that sequence was never new.
The existence, of course, they bring it out because who wouldn't? But they are conditioned. They just accept it. Usually, it's more to you. They bring it out because it's what they're feeling. I don't think it will be easy to like, oh, you're gonna become, a spy, and you're gonna choose a dying girl, make her become a machine and kill for you. And you're like, okay, sure, let's just do it, and just pumps the shotgun. I don't think this would be appreciated. As well, I don't think it would be right to the story. I think, although you discover the formula, and I said I understand there's a formula.
Mm-hmm.
I just said, go out, make the mission, kill some people, come back, have some moral discussion. It doesn't make it less subtle, and especially how the adults in the show try to treat them as girls, but should they or should they not? Most of people treat them like little girls, like normal girls, which for me is fine. It doesn't make it less subtle. The conflicts and the little comments that spur here and there. But I agree with you with the formula. I agree that you don't like that kind of formula, and you didn't enjoy the show, or it didn't went well for you. You're not gonna like the show. I understand it, and
no.
Since it released, those are the comments in the show. I understand you.
So, to further iterate, we have Henrietta. Let's see, the first episode, well, okay, we already spoke how bad the first 2 episodes were, and what Tori and I mean by that is, the second episode is essentially episode 1 again.
Yeah, and like, here's my problem with the second episode, especially. How a lot of anime does this. This is nothing new. They will show you an episode, and they will give you a couple of things, but maybe not necessarily everything. And then they'll use the second episode to recap that and give you some other perspectives and fill out the blanks. What does Gunslinger Girl do? Well, it gives you that episode, and then it gives you it again. And what has it added to that first episode at the end of it? A couple new scenes, but other than that, not that much.
They were the same exact scenes too.
Yeah, no, there are a couple different scenes in the second episode that weren't in the first episode, but it's like, that's not enough. It's like that. Now we're talking. I mean, obviously, it's not quite as bad, but that's like
half the episode.
That's like the same. Yes, but that's like, it's not quite as bad, but it's like, we're talking fucking like, you keep that shit up, and we're in another fucking like endless 8th fucking problem here. Like, that also has a couple of different scenes in certain episodes, but for 8 episodes, it's basically the same thing again with slightly modified dialogue.
Yeah. So to play off that, that was a bad sign to begin with for me, because Tori, did I message you? And I go, what did I just witness?
I mean, you put it in the Discord.
Yeah. Okay.
I watched it basically almost right after we finished the podcast, and that was just, when I watched those 2 episodes, I legitimately had to ask myself, like, am I actually gonna finish this?
Yeah.
But I decided, you know what? It's 13 episodes. I'm gonna finish it. It's not that much.
That was my train of thought as well. I'm like, man, if the show was more than 12, 13 episodes, no way.
For like, literally, for the first like 5 minutes, I was asking myself, is there something wrong with what I'm watching? Have I like accidentally started the first episode again, or like, is there something wrong here? Is the order of episodes incorrect, or what's going on?
Right.
Nope.
So I do want to say this. So you have Henrietta, and they focus on her being the cyborg. And yes, there's instances where she's treated by outside humans as a girl, as one would. But there's, I believe it was with Henrietta, maybe it was Rico, it hardly matters, where two characters come and they go, oh, who's this little girl? And they go, oh, this is the cyborg. Oh, it's her. They immediately change their tone, and then it goes into that dry, just nothing dialogue from there. And the show does so much of that, where every time any one of these girls are on screen, and it always focused then on the handlers discussing fuck all. It was nothing. They would talk about the mission, which in the grand scheme of the show meant nothing. Anytime the handlers were speaking, it was just so worthless dialogue. I go, well, after 3 episodes, I just started to tune it out, because it had no impact towards anything else in the show other than the 1 or 2 minute action scene, and all that was the girl gets a gun, shoots up the place, we move on back to the orphanage or whatever the fuck they are. And it would just be the girls talking about their handlers every time, with the occasional moment line that Hickey brings up, with, as he was saying, subtle, of their existence or their state of mind, but that was always based on conditioning. So, and because you knew it was their conditioning, that meant nothing. You go, well, that's not what they're actually thinking. They're programmed to, so that doesn't matter either.
I think the conditioning was kind of flawed in general, but
oh, absolutely, it was.
But okay, but here's one thing though. And this is kind of more of an aesthetic thing, but this bothered me especially. It got better after a while, but in the first episode, it was fucking painful. Did anybody else notice the complete lack of fucking different designs for mob characters in the first few episodes?
Oh yeah,
and I'm not just talking about the first and second where they use the same people. I'm talking about literally, you go and look at these guys. Oh, they just got shot and killed. They look like this, and then you go to the fucking social welfare agency, and the same guys are there. It's like, what the fuck?
And the show did get a little bit better. With different characters in general, but yeah, they would rehash so many things in the show. It was awful and very noticeable.
Oh yeah, it's like I joked about it as well. I'm like, I've seen the same like fucking middle-aged, like slightly balding guy with glasses more times in this one than I ever done in any other series.
I swear I saw the same guy get shot up like 60 times in the show.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, to put it in a typical way, this was not like a high budget production.
Which is, and that's what was really odd to me, because Madhouse was making a lot of anime during this era, the 2000 to 2005 period. This is one of the worst looking Madhouse shows I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of Madhouse shows. The background art was okay, just okay, but the character art with the rehashed characters, just bland, generic-looking characters. Even the girls look generic. If you would just like take their hair off, they're all the same.
Yeah, they use that one.
I agree with the mob guys. I guess they just didn't need a proper detail.
It's lazy.
People who get shot. Lazy? I don't believe so. Especially when we're talking about anime and short funds.
Yeah.
You can say they got lazy. I would say they actually worked as hard as they could.
There's probably a reason for it, but that being said, that doesn't make it good.
That doesn't make it okay.
No, I'm not saying it makes okay. I'm counterpointing the fact JD said it was lazy.
Yeah, no, I don't agree.
About this story, it's a very simple spy story. JD didn't pay attention, but every single mission they did contributed to find the big shots of a terrorist organization.
It didn't matter.
Well,
it didn't matter. That wasn't the point.
Europe, when you had a lot of terrorist groups in middle 90s and stuff, yeah, I guess it does matter. You just didn't pay attention to them.
I didn't need to pay attention because it meant nothing in the grand scheme of the show.
Well, I guess to the story, yes, it meant.
I disagree.
Maybe to the moral dilemma, which were like, yes, it is in my face all the time. I guess you missed what was in your face all the time, which was the spice. But it's fine.
So, as all Moe shows are,
this is not a Moe show.
Oh, it sure
is.
It sure put in
it's
some Moe
a girls
things.
with guns show, Hickey. That is
well,
a
just because a character is cute, just because they have cute characters. Of course, they are cute. They are little girls. It doesn't.
Oh, they're not cute. They're abominations. They're cyborgs. They're not human.
Girls with guns. Fucking Moe subjob. My God.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a Moe show. I think it's more in the Moe Gappu show. Moe is not an expression of cuteness. Cute, the word for cute in Japanese being kawaii, not moe. Moe comes from moeru, which is burning or a sprouting of a blossom. It's a completely different thing. It's a completely different kind of show. I think they're cute. Of course, they are cute. They would be cute, but I don't think they are moe. It's not a moe show for that. I think it falls in the category where you have cute characters and you have a plot, and sometimes you have what it's called the moe gap, where a character, you have the klutz character, someone falls, and you have some squeak from time to time. That is called moe gap, very popular in the 80s and 90s, and because of some natural selection, it became moe and contaminated and mutated into the anime we know nowadays. So this show being 2003, where started the mutation. So yes, you have the modern moe traits to the characters, but that comes since 1997, 1999.
Yeah, around
we can
that
know
time.
that because of the Genshiken manga, where they talk about how manga and figures are changing. The characters are getting more rounded, more younger and smaller. So yes, you have the aesthetic of modern moe because it is the beginning of the mutation, but it's not a moe show. It's not a proper. It's just a show of cute characters.
No, but there was a lot of signs that this show was kind of kickstarting that era. Like, I would definitely agree with that. Yeah. One moment in particular that really stood out, because I thought going into this that it was going to be uber moe from the start, and didn't get that. The characters look very moe. They with the focus on them like talking in a room and drinking tea and shit, like, okay, that's very much along the lines of what we see a lot today, but there wasn't a heavy hand of that, so I was like, oh, thank God, at least it didn't do that a lot of times. And then around episode 11, I believe, or 12, what it was, it had one of the girls just running along after her own Nissan, because they made a point to always have that in the show, and then she just kind of trips and falls like multiple times. What the fuck is happening here? And then yeah, I think it was her. I mean,
she was
and then
she was in the end of her life, so she was
just training. She was just training, and then it just
she was. Anja has two big problems, and they show it. It's her character. The first one being her body didn't adapt to the prosthetics. And the second one, the conditioning fucked up her brain so much that she didn't have any kind of use. That is basically her character. That's why she's stripping all the time, because her body cannot handle the prosthetic.
Yeah,
they don't work well.
No, I get that.
This is honestly, out of all of the girls, I think the Angelica story is kind of the one that I enjoyed the most out of them. Most of them I didn't.
Yeah,
but
I didn't enjoy any character personally.
It's just simply because, like, one of the things that I appreciated is, first of all, you have her handler, right? And then you have the story of a guy who tried. He generally tried, but eventually just gave up because she has so many problems, and it doesn't feel like anything. Like it all doesn't matter in the end. Like nothing matters. You see her, she's even starts to forget stuff and whatnot, and it's just like it's irrelevant. She is broken. She is doomed. And that's kind of the big part, and that leads to the final of the final episode of the show, which I fucking wish it wasn't the final episode of the show, because it is one of the things like, see, if this would have come earlier, I could have enjoyed this, but since it's the end, I'm kind of sitting there, I was like, oh, that's too late.
Yeah, I kind of had that same reaction too. I was like, wow, okay, finally something happened, I guess.
They were sitting there jamming out the Beethoven.
But Tori, it's funny you mentioned that phrase with the character going, well, none of this matters. Why should I care and put effort into this girl? And I felt like the show, around the episode 2.5, 3 mark, conveyed that to me, where why should I care? And that stuck with me as I was watching the show the entire time, and that really hurt me having even a chance to enjoy it whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a very successful show for me either in terms of anything. Like, it, again, I said, it's like, when it comes to the girl story, I feel like it lacked a lot in a lot of departments. There's certain stuff that gets brought up every once in a while, but just didn't do much for me. The Angelica story is the one that I enjoyed the most. But again, that's also signals that it's over now, and if you want to keep going, then you have season 2. And I'm like, but why would I bother with season 2 also? Which I'm also more apprehensive about season 2, because even from the people that like it, the only thing I keep hearing about season 2 is that, yeah, it's worse than season 1. So I'm like, no, absolutely not.
I read the same
I'm not going there.
This is it's not old Madhouse, because Madhouse is old as fuck.
Yeah.
But it's 2000s Madhouse, and 2000s Madhouse had a problem with second seasons. They wouldn't do second seasons. So what the production committee did was new studio, new director, everything new voice actresses. So he changed everything. He changed the designer. Everything was changed. Even the color palette was changed. So that's why people say it's bad. But I don't know. I enjoy the second season as well. I guess it's more of the same. So I enjoy the first season. Of course, it's not Madhouse, and I guess Madhouse did a good job, and the director did a good job. In going the same line as you guys. For me, saving the show for the ultimate doom. If you go watch the second season and there's no Madhouse touch, yes, it is.
So I had a couple questions here that kind of popped in my head while I was watching this. Sort of answered it already, but let's just reiterate it, I guess. Did you ever feel sorry for the girls?
Never. Not even.
No.
Do you feel like that was a problem with the show? Because I never felt sorry for them either. Even though I got the feeling I should have.
I didn't feel like I should have. Like, I kind of agree with Hickey on this one. Like, I don't think ultimately, right, because it's one of those lose-lose situations. Like, should you feel bad about these girls? Well, I mean, in the like very aspect that is like they're doomed no matter what. Yeah, sure, but like it's not the focus of the show. It's not like the show's like, oh, look, these poor souls. Oh, boo. You should feel bad. It's like it's. They technically get a second chance, and you can know. Although for me, I gotta just sit there and be like, so this is how the EU is going to be ruling stuff in the future. Like,
weaponized little girls.
Oh
yes. God. I think the shows. I think it treats the watcher very honest. If you want to feel sorry for these girls, feel sorry for them. But I will not make any effort to make you feel sorry for them. It's all on you, buddy.
Well, no, I mean, I also bring it up because as I was reading reviews of the show, whether it's on Mal or Anime Planet or what have you, a lot of reviews also focused on them feeling sorry for them and how it got to their emotions and everything. And I go, I never got any of that. And
no.
I'm glad to know that you guys were in the same boat as I am.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe it is like seeing them as the same as the operators. Do you feel sad or bad for a tool? You use the tool however you want. If you want to treat her like a little girl, you can. If you don't want to, just don't do it. But just don't fuck up to it.
Right.
You don't end up dead.
Make sure your tool doesn't shoot you in the face and then kill itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's that. I think it tries to convey that, especially when, just like you point out, JD, when people knew they were robots or cyborgs, people will start to adopt a more dry tone towards them. Except one episode where there's one woman who treated them normally.
Yeah, there's always one, yeah.
So it's what the show wanted you. If you want to feel sorry for them, and there's a lot of people who watches anime because of the emotion it conveys.
I don't know, I got more emotion conveyed in Saikano than the show. Show's just so dry.
I'm not talking about it. It's like people look at it, it's like, oh, it's a drama, where it's not technically a drama. Of course, you have dramatic stuff. Plot, not really a drama. It's just a spy story with weaponized little girls.
Okay, well, since you brought up drama, there was an instance in drama that caught me in the show. And that was where, I think it was Henrietta, pulled a gun on herself. And she went into this whole speech about, existentialism and her own humanity. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I've heard this from every girl in the show up until this point multiple times. That same spiel. And then she pulls the gun on herself, and the handler, the Fratello, as they call it in the show, prevents her from, quote unquote, shooting herself. And then she says the line with a smile on her face, well, I wasn't actually going to shoot myself. And I go, well, the bullet casing on the ground says differently.
Well,
first of all,
did I miss something in the scene? I felt like I did.
Yeah.
The chick that was there, she had all the bullets. She had emptied that shit before. I had to make sure.
Any existential crisis or any existential speech, she was explaining why Elsa killed herself. And she said, well, if I loved someone, and that person didn't love me back, which is basically talking about the fail.
Right. So,
when the completion fail, she would, and then she grabs the gun, points toward her eye, and basically they found two pieces, like two bullets inside of Elsa's brain, which means she shot herself twice, so she could like bypass the cybernetics. So she would just, shoot her, so there were no bullets.
Okay, I didn't miss anything in that scene then. So then my other question would be, was there a best girl character? Because that's obviously very important with these kinds of shows. Who was best girl?
I don't know, Triella maybe?
Maybe? Because she killed herself? That was the one that killed herself, right, Triella? No, it was Elsa. No. You just said so, Hickey.
Yep. Triella, that's the black one.
The black one?
You have a better way of explaining her. The blonde one. There are multiple blonde ones. The one without a personality? That's all of them.
The one without a personality. The one with the dry sense of humor. Wait.
The one with a big brother. Hold on.
The one that never smiled. Shit.
Well, that rules out one of them.
Yeah, the one with glasses. Nope, it wasn't her. Okay.
Well, did she wear glasses one time? I don't remember. The one with all the bears.
Yeah.
She did get bears.
Hickey, you enjoyed this show? Did you have a favorite girl character or backstory or what have you? Maybe.
Is he gone?
He gone? Did he disappear?
Sounds
he
like
himself, that's for sure. There he is.
Just for a while.
Did you have a best girl character, Hickey, since you enjoyed the show?
Yes, I do. Riella.
Yeah, I was right.
There's a few spoilers about her in the manga. I don't want to talk about it. Well, if you listen to the episode, you already got the spoiler because I talked about it.
I don't think it's that big a deal. Go ahead, spoil away.
She dies. And yeah.
Oh, like all of them, pretty much.
No, she actually dies. It's not like, oh, I'm dying. She's an assassin. So yeah, and she wields an Itaka shotgun with it's not the modern type, it's the wooden assets type with a saber. She uses a saber bayonet, which is very cool and very rare for the Itaka shotgun.
At least that sounds cool. All right, I'm kind of tapped out on Gunslinger Girl, unless everyone else has something else they want to add.
Nah.
I still think it's a good show. I watched everything again and I enjoyed. It's a pre-Moe show, but it shows you the mutation going on. One of the few shows where you can actually see it because you have cute characters. They are not Moe. It's not a Moe show with Moe characters. It's a show with cute characters. Kind of cute characters because they are weapons. But it is a very interesting example of the natural selection that led us to what we have now.
Well, Tori, how about you go first and score this motherfucker?
Yes. So, as you can clear from tell from my glaring review of this one, I'm going to be giving it a score. And the score that I gave it was a 5. And that simply comes out of the fact that average, yeah. Like, I didn't hate it. When I was watching it, I didn't sit there going like, oh, that is terrible. This is terrible. That is terrible. Apart from the first 2 episodes. Terrible. But other than that, the rest of the show, I'm kind of just sitting there going, well, that's nothing. That's not interesting. I don't care about this. I don't care about her. I don't care about him. I don't care about then the Angelica thing happens at the end. And I'm like, yeah, that's okay. And then it ends, and it's like, yeah, that's too late. And I basically just sat there. And it was just like immediately. It was just like, yeah, no, that's a 5.
So I have the exact same opinion. However, that does not come across as average to me. To me, I take that as, why am I watching this show? I'm bored. I should drop this. I want to drop this. I really should have dropped it in the end. Because, like you said, Tori, I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I didn't care about anything in the show. And that's not good. That's unacceptable. I have to care about something, and I just never did. And there was a lot of things that were highly flawed to me, especially the conditioning, and that's, to me, one of the major points of the show. It affects every single character. I could go on and on. I think I've pretty much said my point. I am giving this an extremely harsh 2 out of 10.
Damn. Well, it's not your show. Honestly.
It is definitely not my show. But I hope those that enjoy the show, is obviously it's not towards anything to you guys out there listening, and to you, Hickey. To me, there's nothing worse than a show that I just don't care about.
Yeah.
He hates you all.
It only gets that extra point because of, like Tori said, oh, that was pretty good. Too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
well,
that
Hickey,
is definitely too late.
Hickey, now you have to give this an 8. Then that'll be 3 scores in between 8. All of us. That'll be perfect.
So, Hickey, since you enjoyed this, what do you got?
Yeah, I think I actually gave it an 8, which is
damn.
Wow.
The more is 7.5. Well, I watched it in a long time. I think nowadays, after rewatching, I would give it a 7. I'm between a 7 and an 8. I enjoy this show. I enjoy this story. I like spy stories. This one lacks a lot of things. It's very basic spy story. Go and kill boss by boss, get information to deal with a terrorist organization without any suspicions, although they, shoot people in daylight in middle of Italian
Not much
cities.
spy stuff going on, if you ask me.
Well, I would say it's very late 90s spy stuff with vans and shooting out machine guns and more of the shootout situations instead of the classic 70s and 80s James Bond kind of spy. So yeah, I enjoy the show, and of course, I think there's a lot of things that lack. I understand it. It's not for everyone. JD's and Tori's points are valid, and understand them, and I agree with a lot of them. But instead of saying this is nothing or this is nothing at all here, I think at least they are fine. They're a collection of very fine things that make a very fine show. But overall, I enjoy it, and I really enjoy the opening music. So yeah, an 8. I'll give it an 8, just because of JD giving it 8. And I'll leave it with my original score for when I watch it, and I scored stuff without the system I use.
Alrighty then. I watched this on Netflix. It is available on Netflix, and it skips the intro every time. There is no OP music, so
nice.
That's sad. It's
so the average score of the cast is a 5. So I think, as usual, Tori is best host, and he's right.
Yes. So good at this.
Right in between.
I'm just gonna have to tell you, man. But eventually, you're gonna have to pick a show that we're gonna watch that I will enjoy.
It has to happen eventually.
I hope so. I think people want to, listen to our review.
Yeah, but can't you pick shows that you know that I will want to watch?
Well, the next show I picked is Bebop High School, and it's only in 2019, and it's a very good show. And
you know what? You're right.
You'll probably enjoy very much.
I have high hopes. And if this also fails, then God damn it, Icky.
God damn it, there's no hope. All right. So that was episode 38 of the Red Leaf Retrocast Anime Edition Worldwide Weebs.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, go check us out, YouTube. All the social medias at BowlingJD, Tori RLR, Mighty Hickey. Hit us all up. Join our Discord if you so please. We'd love to have you part of our conversations. Use the hashtag RedleafRetrocast and suggest whatever you want and give us your opinions. We love them all. Yep. And join us in our next episode, which is
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episodes 1 through 26.
Damn.
And I kind of hate you for that because I'm going to have to keep going after that, but whatever.
Oh no, you're going to have to watch a good show.
I know, I hate you. Why would you do that? Why would you ever do that?
Well,
are we going to reveal the winner of the contest in the next episode? For the winners?
In the anime episode? Yeah, sure.
I mean, we can do the one for the anime in the anime episode. You can do the one for the others in the others.
You know, you're right. We could do that, Tori.
Yep.
It is within our power.
Yeah. Planning on the podcast.
Yeah. Did you guys get any... I know you guys don't live in the US, but did you guys get anything from the Right Stuff sale during the holidays in America? Or
nope.
Obviously, Sentai only ships in America, so can't ask you that. But nothing on Right Stuff? Nothing at all?
Not at all.
But I got a nice physics book.
Woo!
Just to research Bunny Girl Senpai and call it out on this bullshit?
No, it's actually a book about relativity. Because I enjoy the Einstein's relativity better than quantum physics, because quantum physics makes sense but doesn't make sense, but that's okay, not okay, because it's quantum physics. And quantum physics were made but not made to be like that, or not be like that.
See, I thought you got the physics books because Isaac Newton was had such an impact on you during the Escaflowne episode. You're just like, I gotta know more about this dude.
Yes. You know what? I should get an Isaac Newton book.
Mankind's greatest enemy, right here. Well, I got some stuff on the Sentai sale because their sale was just stupid crazy. Like, you get Blu-rays for $5-10. It was nuts. I got all of Space Brothers for, I think it was like $8 a pop of the Blu-ray. So it cost me like $40 for all of them.
Yeah, I heard that, but you know, sadly, it's one of those things with like fucking. Even if I could buy it, well, first of all, shipping is hell, and secondly, it's fucking. I couldn't watch it anyways.
Yeah, different region, anyways.
Yeah, I would like if I bought them. First of all, dollar is expensive as fuck. I would have to.
Well, compared to where you live,
I'll have to import them. Post service is a monopoly. It's a state monopoly, which means there's only one company, and they charge a lot of money, and there's still taxes, importation taxes I would have to pay. So
gross.
I would buy like, yes, it's on sale. I bought for $1. I would have to pay like $40 to get it. Eesh. So it doesn't. Yeah, importation is not very good.
I also got the 2 seasons of Haikyuu. They were like $5 each, no problem. And then Chihayafuru. I got that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's got a 3rd season coming up soon.
It does.
I gotta watch the second.
I haven't seen season 2, and even though my initial impression of Chihayafuru wasn't like great, I still enjoyed the show.
Yeah, and I think it's fine.
I've come to appreciate it more as time has gone on. I don't get that with a lot of shows. Looking forward to that.
I really enjoyed the 1st season, but it is that occasion that you go, man, I really like the 1st season. Well, here's the 2nd season. No, thank you. I just kept delaying it, and now the 3rd season is coming out. So I
know that feeling. I still need to finish Hajime no Ippo.
Oh, what? Okay.
I know.
Well, before we get on that tangent, join us for the post show, because this podcast is over. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Woo! We did it.
We did it! Hooray! Podcast over. Post-show. Anybody still in the chat? There's a few of you there on Twitch and a bunch on Periscope. Hey, glad to have
What
you
are
guys
you
here.
doing here?
Go ahead,
How-
chime in.
Anyway, now now it's over.
Yeah.
Sorry. So like, what they can do in Gridman is like, wait, this is 30. They can like just fly towards the sky ceiling, breaks it, go to another dimension, and just fight it. And that is technically space.
Shut up.
They will do that.
Shut up.
It's fucking Trigger. I know they will do that.
No!
Of course
They
will. It's
learned.
fucking Trigger.
They have learned, Nicky.
If they learned, Inferno Cop wouldn't be the fucking villain of this show.
They learned! What do you mean? Fucking the director of Inferno Cop is directing this. Of course they.
It's also it's more of it's the boss from Luluco more than Inferno Cop.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, he did that too. So
Fucking shit! It's gonna end in space. Oh.
I love that.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about quantum physics? Because I can do that.
You know, I think we're good. I think we have enough quantum physics for today.
Oh, dude.
Oh man, what a cast!
Okay.
What a cast! Almost 3 hours.
That was a podcast episode, boys.
Yeah, although I expect it to be a bit shorter, you know, after you have removed all that problem.
Well, Hickey was talking during that time, so I think I'll just keep it in.
We'll see. You're probably gonna have me and Hickey and you and Hickey and quite a bit, so
It's fine.
is it though?
I'll
Is it
check it
really?
out. If it's like detrimental problem, then I'll remove it. But
Yeah, I fucking called it. I knew it. It had to happen.
yeah, we haven't had tech issues like that in a long time.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily exactly tech issues. It was just fucking connection issues.
Yeah,
It was funny because it's been what 2 months since the last time I had connection problems.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I just had a feeling. I'm like, it's been so long, and we didn't have any problems when we had a guest on. That's normally when we have problems. I'm like, it's gotta happen today, and it fucking did.
I think you just put it out there, so that's why it happened.
Yeah.
You're right.
With the connection issues, I think it's fine because I only talked when I was roboting, so you can just cut it off. Like 2 of JDs, I will have to interrupt you here and leave the 3rd one because that's where I start talking. Then Tori starts talking, but there was one moment at the end I had to, deal with a little problem and walked away from the mic. So
well, I mean, that's why we that's why we record our own audio.
Yeah. So like it's
kind of stuff.
I think it's just like it's two times it dropped connection and it really mattered, but I didn't talk anything because I saw I dropped and I realized I dropped. So it's fine. It's just cut it off. And one time I walked away from the mic because
That's kind of the problem as well for us when you fucking lose connection and you start roboting like crazy. It's just like, you might have stopped talking on your end, but on our end, we're still getting the feedback.
Yeah.
It's just
I don't know. When JD signs everything, he will see. I think
I'll see what happened there. Yeah, it was at the one. Yeah, the 150.
Okay, JD, you should watch Bunny Girl.
Oh, look at that.
I'm just not interested in a show like that right now.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I mean, what I was going to say is like, if you want something that is less pretentious, but it still have like supernatural stuff, you got Monogatari. If you only want the teenager bullshit, you have Snafu. But it's
Yeah, sure.
still a very good show. The problem is, if you cannot handle pretentious people, yeah. And this is a problem because I really like Futaba, and Futaba is the one just spilling shit everywhere. And her case is just so bad. Like, I was looking at that, I was like, this is not how stuff works. Just no.
I want to know what kind of fucking social phenomenon he used as a reference for that. Split person. It literally just feels to me like he was split personality disorder, maybe.
It's not a split personality
No,
disorder.
I know it's not.
Basically, trying to fit and accept yourself. So, like, that's why. Because, like, okay.
I am ending
Quantum-
the stream here.
Quantum